Some coffee's fast, but not fresh. Some coffee's fresh, but only after a long wait. Speedway coffee is made fresh at the push of a button, hot or iced, so you can have fresh coffee your way, right away. Find a store near you at speedway.com/locations.
Kent State really does care about its students, and I think that if a student wants to feel supported throughout their time here and feel like they have someone to go to for help or for advice or just to talk, Kent State is the place for that.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
What's up, everybody? This is the Dirty Daddy, Chris Dickinson here, and you are listening to Keepin It Strong Style.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh come and hit a job out and bury all the frauds. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the Ace of Podcasts on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here with the young boy Josh Smith. On today's show, we'll review Power Struggle, preview Battle in the Valley, Best Super Junior, and World Tag League, answer listener questions, and cover all the latest news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. You can support our show by subscribing and following the Social Suplex Podcast Network or Keeping It Strong Style on the podcast app of your choice and leaving a rating and review. You can also get all the podcasts and columns over at socialsuplex.com. Check out our Pro Wrestling Tee store, prowrestlingtees.com/socialsuplex. That's where you can get your official Keeping It Strong Style t-shirt. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider making a one-time or monthly donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate and clicking on the donate button under the Keeping It Strong Style logo. This week's episode is brought to you by the NJPW EXT, the only browser extension for NJPWWorld.com, with features like dark mode, improved translations and layouts, custom and shared playlists, synchronized viewing parties, and much, much more. It takes NJPW World to the next level. You can visit njpwext.us today for details. Young boy, how you doing, man?
I'm doing so good. It's great to be back on the Ace of Podcasts, Keeping a Strong Style. And, Jeremy, the audience at home, they can't see us, but they can hear us, obviously. But we're on a video chat. You can see me. And, I know that I'm not one for wrestling merch necessarily, but check out this authentic new Bryan Danielson t-shirt. Is this shit not fly or what?
Yeah, man.
Just like he wears every week on TV, bro.
You got the plain white. It's crisp, authentic.
Crispy as fuck, bro. Just like D-Bry.
Yeah. Man.
Yo, I loved on One Nation Radio this week. James kept calling him Bryanson.
Yeah, he's been doing that for a couple weeks now.
Yeah, I noticed Bryanson. So yeah, things are good. Dropped. I finally reached the marker point. I'm down 20 pounds since late June, early July. It's about 5 pounds a month, so right on pace. Ahead.
Are you trying to get down to 205?
Actually, yeah, I've been 205 before, and I thought it was a good weight for me. So yeah, that might not be bad.
Nice. Could be a next cruiserweight champ.
The other thing too, well, actually, I don't think that's the funny thing. Like 205 in terms of professional wrestling sounds small because 205. But then I think of guys like John Jones is 205. That's the light heavyweight limit in the UFC. So you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like 205 is not small.
Right.
It's like Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz and guys like that.
Right. I mean, also there's difference in like a Jack 205 and then like a skinny indie geek 205.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, like, it's funny. Like, I'm not thinking of like Tozawa. I'm thinking of like Glover Teixeira. You know.
Right.
And trust me, like, it doesn't matter if 205 on my frame is still not small. Yeah. Like, once I'm down to like 170-ish, 180, like that welterweight, middleweight level, that's when you're talking about like a, pretty drained, weight. But yeah. One thing before we get into the show, I know we got a lot to discuss this week, but why don't you tell the kids at home how you didn't like the French Dispatch?
Listen, man, the first time seeing a Wes Anderson movie, my girlfriend, fan of his movies, really wanted to see it. So me, being the ace of boyfriends and being
the ace of boyfriends, oh my god,
being the baby face that I am, took her to go see the French Dispatch. Hey, you know what? It just wasn't my thing, guys. I thought cinematography was great. The shots are great. Very well edited together movie, good music, but the story, I wasn't, just wasn't keeping up with it. Wasn't for me.
It's not for you, baby.
It wasn't for me, baby.
And so you'd never seen Wes Anderson before. How did the girlfriend feel about it?
She liked it.
Oh, she liked it. Okay,
yeah.
So that makes sense because young boy over here, gigantic Wes Anderson fan. I've seen just about. I still haven't seen Fantastic Mr. Fox, but I've seen everything else that he's made, and yeah, I love his shit. And I was surprised not only to hear that you didn't like it, but every single individual in our entire group chat, which is about 8 or 9 individuals, all hate Wes Anderson. Like, I can't even fathom not liking Wes Anderson. Like, to me, that's like on par of being like, yeah, I just don't like those Tanahashi Okada matches. They're not really my thing. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So I mean, I saw the Fresh. So here's a tip for everyone listening. If you live near an AMC, do yourself a favor. AMC A-list. It's like $20 a month, right? And for $20 a month, you get to go and see literally you get to see 3 free movies a week, plus tons of other perks and amenities and things like that. But I mean, if you think about it, bro, if you're just going to see a movie for yourself, twice a month, you're already spending more than $20, right? This is my sales pitch. So, you can go up to 12 times per month. You don't have to, but even if you just went 3 times or 4 times, it's well worth the cost. And I mean, bro, I've been seeing everything that's come out. I've seen like The Last Duel, the Tammy Faye movie, freaking, Green Knight. I've seen a bunch of stuff. And I got to see French Dispatch. So, if you guys get a chance, go out, get that AMC A-list, $20, well worth it. But yeah, man, French Dispatch was a masterpiece. I freaking loved it. I'm shocked that you didn't like it.
I don't know. Maybe I just don't understand the gimmick, and maybe I need to go back and watch some previous Wes Anderson and maybe get a better understanding or perspective of his style and what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, if you were gonna go and watch one, that maybe Moonrise Kingdom, maybe Royal Tenenbaums might be good introductory films, but the masterpiece, the one that generally speaking is considered like his best film, is Grand Budapest Hotel. So I mean, if you want to get if you want to see the Omega Okada 4 Wes Anderson films, that's the one, and then that can kind of tell you if this is for you or not.
All right. Well, I'll try and find some time in between World Tag League and Best of Super Junior to fit that in.
Yeah, you could do it. You could probably watch it while you're watching World Tag League, honestly. But yeah, I thought this week wasn't going to be too busy, but a lot of stuff has come up, and we had a lot of listener questions this week. So I'm pretty excited to sort of dive into this stuff.
Yeah, so first thing we got to talk about is Power Struggle, and we did have a question here from Reddit user Japanese NJ Fan. Says, I was at the Power Struggle show, and he linked a picture from his seat. Says, and yes, it was 50% capacity. The places behind the Tron were usually tarped, but this time they let fans in tarped areas. The crowd was also awesome. There was audible cheers during the matches. The atmosphere was great there, but how about World? Did you guys hear the audible cheers while watching online?
I would say no. I mean, not to say that there weren't some times where maybe you could hear the audience, but I mean, it didn't come off to me like it was a vocal crowd. It seemed very much still like a clap crowd. I don't know. What did it feel like to you?
Yeah, absolutely agree. I thought it was one of the, quote unquote, I guess, quieter clap crowds. Like, I didn't get a ton of energy like we've gotten from some other like Osaka crowd. And so, yeah, I mean, I thought it was kind of like maybe even quieter, maybe just a normal clap crowd. I didn't really hear a ton of cheering like we've heard in some other cities.
Yeah, but glad to hear that you got to attend the show. We're gonna do our review of the show, but thought the show overall was very good, incredible main event, and congratulations. I would like to attend a show in Japan.
Yeah, me too. Maybe one day we'll make it over there. We'll hang out with Reddit user Japanese NJ Fan.
Yo, New Japan needs to stop playing and give us the bag. Write us a check with the freaking line mark on it and bring us over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, give us that Obari money.
Yeah, CTC. Cut the check.
Next question here from Dom Homie 101. Thoughts on the return of the pre-COVID match card that took place at Power Struggle? So, like we previewed last week, first card since the pandemic, 9 matches. So we had several undercards. What do you think about New Japan returning to a full 9-match card?
I mean, this probably goes right into our preview. So, I mean, we can kind of just start off with that talking point. Overall for the show, I liked the pace and energy of it. There was not only meaningful matches and a diversity of different styles on display, but you also sort of had your early kind of opener, fast-paced tag matches. None of them really overstayed their welcome. So, it just kind of felt like a little bit of normalcy sort of, reintroduced to the product, which I thought was refreshing.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely felt, kind of like going back to old times. This 9-match card. You start off with your young lions, and you build up. And we always kind of praise New Japan for their big show structure. They start off the young lions, and they gradually build to the best match on the card. And that was definitely what was done here for Power Struggle. Like you mentioned, I thought it was paced out very well. I didn't think any match overstayed their welcome. And so overall, it was a really solid show. I mean, if we had a full crowd that was clapping and cheering and going crazy like they would, like this could potentially be a show of the year candidate.
I mean, for me, we'll have to discuss. We started talking about the awards this week. We have not done show of the year, but I don't see why this wouldn't be a contender at this point.
Yeah,
considering
I mean, definitely could. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that off air. But I mean, I think it's worth considering. I don't know if it's going to make the cut or not. I'm kind of thinking, like, I saw your list. It's pretty extensive. I'm assuming that list is not necessarily what you want to have nominated, but just sort of the candidates.
Yeah, I just threw some candidates on there. Obviously, there will be some locks, but I was just kind of doing some research on Cage Match and just kind of what I remember.
I got this feeling that, like, we might even want to just cut that entire thing down to like 4 or 5 shows, just because there doesn't seem to be enough shows to actually warrant consideration this year. You know what I mean? Right.
And I'm totally cool with that. I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss anything.
Oh, absolutely. So we'll talk about that off air. But so Power Struggle was this past Saturday, November 6th, 4 a.m. Eastern time on NJPW World. I watched the majority of the show in Japanese with the original broadcast, but kind of broke up my viewing of the show. I think I caught the last 3 or 4 matches with English commentary with Kevin Kelly. A little disappointed not getting Chris Charlton on the call, at least just for some of the translations, but overall, good show. And did you watch all this in Japanese?
Yep, I watched it all Japanese Saturday morning. I didn't get up at 4, but I did watch it. I got up around 8 or 9 and watched it on World Japanese commentary. Yeah,
I think we've been a little spoiled. I've gotten used to just having the English commentary readily available right at the get-go,
Right, yeah, and especially during G1, obviously having Kevin Kelly and Chris Charlton for most of the shows, having both of them as there. I mean, we've kind of got spoiled over the last 2 months and just having live English right away.
But the first match of the night, we had the Suzuki-gun tag team of Doki and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. They defeated the team of Kosei Fujita and Ryohei Oiwa. 4 minutes, 33 seconds, short and sweet. I don't know if you noticed this, but Doki never even tagged into the match.
I don't think I picked up on that.
Yeah, Kanemaru started and finished the shit. Doki had an easy night, and he got paid.
Yeah, took the night off there. Kanemaru slapped a Boston Crab on Fujita to get the submission win here for the Suzuki-gun team. So very short young line opener. Obviously, we didn't get to see much of Fujita and Oiwa here, but it was enough to get them a little ring time, a little experience here.
Yeah, off the air, me and Jeremy were, like I mentioned, we're working on awards, and we noticed yesterday looking on Cage Match, these guys quietly have racked up 22 matches apiece already. Many of those were during the Power Struggle tour that were not recorded for tape, so there's not that many matches available on World. But even still, you think about the first tour they came in for, and then the G1, and then Power Struggle tour, and I mean, these guys have already kind of become fixtures in a pretty short amount of time.
Yeah, it's crazy. When you said that 22 matches, I was taken back a little bit. But yeah, these guys they're rocking it, they're killing it, and yeah, they're going to get a ton of more matches coming up on this Super Junior Tag League tour as well. So I mean, these guys are well on their way to being top young lines.
And not only that, it's not just 22 matches, period. But it's you think about the time we're talking 2-3 months. It's a lot of work in a short period of time. These guys are definitely getting a experience and education, hands-on in short order,
Right.
But yeah, that we'll get that out of the way. So the second match of the night, we had a 6-man tag team action as the Bull Club team of Geto, Jado, and Tangaloa. They defeated the Great Bash heel team of Makabe and Hanma, teaming along with Tiger Mask. 5 minutes, 7 seconds. Again, short and sweet, which, man, that feels refreshing, dude.
Yeah, and this match ended pretty much the way we said it was last week, with Tangaloa hitting a ape shit on Hanma. The one guy you probably wouldn't want to see hit that move with his neck injuries, but looks like it was safe. I'll see Tangaloa picking up some momentum for World Tag League. Yeah,
and I could tell coming out of this, Geto and Jado, they're gearing up to challenge for those junior tag team titles. So, Old's on top.
Yeah, 2021, Old's on top. I mean, Tiger Mask is one half of the junior tag champs right now. So these guys are looking for their shot.
The third match of the night, the LIJ team of Bushi, Hiromu Takahashi, and Sonata, they defeated the team of Master Wato, Ryuzuki Taguchi, and Yuji Nagata. 7 minutes, 5 seconds. Interesting kind of mashup here, because you have fan favorite team in LIJ, sort of like tweeners, but going head to head with Hontai unit, and it sort of feels like it's been a while since we've seen these two groups really face off, and sort of like that.
Yeah, and we have seen some Hiromu and Taguchi kind of facing off the last couple of weeks, and both of them kind of doing their Mongolian chop impressions on each other.
Yeah, I didn't watch all that.
But yeah, interesting. Yeah, LIJ Hontai here. And again, this was a fine match. 7 minutes. Also, Hiromu and Bushi, they're getting ready for Best Super Junior. Sonata getting ready for Tag League. Wato and Taguchi also getting ready for Super Juniors. And Nagata will also be in World Tag League. So there's a little preview match. These guys mix it up. Nothing special out of this world. Sonata uses
I guess that kind of makes sense there. Yeah, because I was like, why are these guys all fighting each other? It's just, it's just sort of happening. I mean, good on them to get some work for all these guys and a paycheck. But, match was fine. I do have thoughts about Hiromu Takahashi's shorts. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about them on the show. He busted out the shorts recently. New look here. I mean, I don't hate them, but I think I might prefer the long pants.
They just scream like mid 2000s, 2010-ish, like Shindy Puro attire. Like they remind me of something like Bad Boy Hino would wear or something like that. Or they kind of gave me like mid 90s, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie vibes, like something that like one of the goons that like, what's the guy with the mask?
Casey.
Yeah, some like douchebag that like Casey would beat up at an ice rink,
Yeah.
Some bad guy like with like white shorts and like spray paint, or you know what? Maybe like one of the goons from like one of those 90s Batman movies, like Batman and Robin. Do you remember like when those movies were really like everything was like blacklight like paint and stuff was like a big deal, and there's like a lot of movies where there's scenes with like blacklight, and that's what his shorts look like they would just like fucking glow if he showed up at like Astro Skate or something like that,
Well, hey, maybe he was watching some of that stuff to get some inspiration.
Yeah, but it looks shitty. Like, I don't know, his gear before, I liked his gear before just because like it was unique to him, plus it sort of had a little bit of that lucha vibe. Now he just kind of looks, I don't know, grimier. I don't know. It looks less like a star. It's a downgrade.
Well, maybe he doesn't want to continue to outshine the rest of the division. Maybe he's trying to make an even playing field.
He's still outshining the rest of the division, even with the shit. Oh, man. So that takes us to the fourth match of the night. First match of note for the evening as the Chaos Trio of Tomohiro Ishii, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi. They defend their never openweight 6-man tag team titles against the House of Torture subunit of Evil, Sho, and Yujiro Takahashi. And at 13 minutes, 46 seconds, we have new champions.
Yeah, I feel this is what we all predicted with the push of House of Torture and Evil, that it made a ton of sense for these guys to win the titles here. This was the Chaos units. This was their 10th defense, to try to get 10 defenses here, but failed. And, it's the end of a historic, never 6-man run. These guys did an excellent job defending the titles. This match was fine. Also, I don't think it was the best defense that these guys have had, but it wasn't completely egregious. I mean, it was littered with the normal Evil tropes. I mean, you had a ref bump earlier on, so Evil and Togo could do the magic killer on Yoshihashi. There was an exposed turnbuckle that Yoshihashi ran into it towards the beginning. Several teases of the everything is evil throughout the match. Togo at one point jumps up and chokes Yujiro with the wire. Yoshihashi with the wire. You had Yujiro attempting to use his pimp cane throughout the match. Sho attempting to use a chair. So definitely a ton of kind of the evil trope, Togoism tropes here. The Chaos team, they were about to win the match towards the end. Yoshihashi and Goto hit their big double team move, but Togo pulled the ref out right before he hit 3. Double low blow on Yoshihashi and Goto. And then we get to the finish here where Sho hits Yoshihashi with a wrench. Evil hits everything is evil, and we have new champs.
Have they ever done a ref pullout in AEW?
I don't think they have.
And I'm not saying that to compare the two, but I'm the reason I'm asking is because to me, there's maybe nothing as egregious as anyone, no matter who it is, pulling the ref out and it not resulting in immediate disqualification of any sort. And the idea that some sort of overseeing board or body of directors or management group for, like let's say if this is the UFC and someone attacked one of the referees, that Dana White and Lorenzo Fertitta wouldn't fucking make heads roll over that shit,
Yeah.
Like that just like a ref bump is inadvertent, but like someone pulling a ref out,
yeah, like that is like one of the worst like North American professional wrestling tropes that you see all the time in WWE. And yeah, you pull the ref out. Like at that point, if a ref gets pulled out, I think it should be a disqualification. Like the next ref should come out and disqualify whoever pulled the ref out, and the match should be over.
There's a pretty famous match from Shuto, or not from Shuto, but from Valley Tudo Japan '97. It's Frank Shamrock versus Ensign Inouye, and the deal was the winner of this match was going to face Kevin Jackson in the UFC for the. This was back in the day when like promotions didn't necessarily work together, but the sport was so fledgling they kind of interacted a lot more. But the winner of this event was going to go on to face Kevin Jackson for the middleweight title in the UFC, which the middleweight belt is what we now refer to as the light heavyweight belt. And it was also famous because like Ken Shamrock was a pancrase wrestler or fighter, you know, and then you had Ensign Inouye who sort of represented Shuto. And those two companies were like literally, that was like WWF and WCW. They hated each other. This is all before Pride. So they're like the top two shoot promotions out there, you know. It was a huge deal that they're fighting each other. And about 20 minutes into the match, fucking Frank Shamrock gets mount on Ensign Inouye. And Ensign Inouye's brother, Egan, jumps up. They're fighting in a ring, and he jumps up through the ropes and fucking runs as fast as he can and fucking like shoulder tackles Frank Shamrock. The referee tried to like intervene, and he gets ref bumped like legit. And then they call the match, and I'm like, see, that's how it should be. If anyone gets in the ring, no matter who it is, for any reason, the fight should just immediately like the fight stops. You know what I mean?
Right.
But back to this, I don't know why I brought that up. I've just been waiting for my chance to sort of insert that fact. But yeah, man, this match was fine. I mean, I'd say it's far from, you know, the Chaos 6-man epics that we've become used to. But given its slotting on this card, it makes all the sense in the world. And yeah, there was a lot of bullshit, but at the same time, it's kind of a platform for Show to kind of get some gold with this new subunit. You know, it's kind of a little bit of a attaboy to Yujiro for, you know, some of the work he's done during the G1s, pandemics, and, you know, it still kind of keeps Evil as like a person of importance while not necessarily wrapping him up in the major title scene. So I'm fine with it. And, you know, at the end of the day, they did elevate these 6-man titles, but they're still the 6-man titles.
Right.
And if you're going to have bullshit like this is probably the division and the titles to kind of like wrap with that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, I'm fine with it. You know, we're going to be leaving that period of classic Cork and Hall main events with the Chaos subunit, but you know, who knows? I mean, I'd rather have this than Evil challenging for a world title or, you know, muddying up a G1. So it's fine.
Yeah. Amen to that. Post match had a little angle here. The House of Torture, they cut the Chaos towel and they were continuing their attack on the Chaos unit. And then Yo makes his big return, big save for the Chaos unit. He clears the ring. The new champs, they bail. Yo in all white. He immediately went after Show, and also both those guys will be in Best of the Super Juniors and will face off later in the tournament.
This felt like when Tommy the Green Ranger, you know, he got sick, and we thought we were losing him as a Ranger, and then he returned in the all white joint. You know,
yeah,
and he, you know. He got rid of the fucking flute, came back with the talking sword. You know?
Saba.
I don't know the gimmick's name.
Yeah, it was Saba.
Oh my god. So yeah, and I just thought to myself, good on Yo. You know, if Okada doesn't want to raise up his you know, group, Yo will do it. You know, Chaos never die. Actually, there was literally like a good portion where he ran in and interfered. You know. Like ran the interference, or not interference, but made the save, and I just didn't even think of the fact that he is a Chaos member. Like that didn't really occur to me until I was like, oh wait, these guys are all in a team together, aren't they?
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of cool, huh? Like, but it wasn't like something you would think like if X-Pac ran in and saved like China and Billy Gunn, you would know who the fuck they were like all representing, you know?
Yeah.
But I didn't do that with Yo. I was just like, I don't know. He wants to get a show. Oh,
Yeah.
wait. He is Chaos. I forgot.
Yeah, probably most of the focus is people thinking like Show and Yo, not even thinking like, yeah, he's saving his actual unit.
Yeah, but it's not even that. It's just like it was literally like, I wouldn't even call it a secondary thought. It was like a third or fourth like level thought. Like it dawned on me, maybe even after the fact. I'm like, oh wait, they were all together, huh? So yeah, that's cool. And who knows? I bet you down the road we get some sort of quasi rematch for maybe the 6-man titles in the lead up to whatever's coming. That may potentially involve Show and Yo on opposite sides of 6-man trios,
Right. So then following that matchup, we had the KOPW Provisional 2021 match in the amateur wrestling rules. So we had Yuji Nagata coming out here and explaining the rules, 2 3-minute rounds, and starts throwing up scorecards and explaining the rules and the points. Not quite sure exactly what they were saying because I watched it in the Japanese, and I know we kind of talked about it off there. It seemed like they were kind of doing a mix of folk style and freestyle scoring here.
Well, for all we know, those might have been the rules for like the collegiate, level when it comes to Japanese amateur wrestling.
Yeah, that could definitely be the Japanese amateur wrestling rules, but compared to like American amateur wrestling rules, it seemed like a mix of American folk style and American freestyle.
Well, I noticed that they sort of had to make an adjustment because they're wrestling in a ring and they didn't like circle off the ring and make a play area. Instead, they just sort of treated the ropes as, the out of bounds essentially. So
right, and it seemed like if you got a quote unquote takedown by the ropes, you got a point for that.
So the way it was if you pushed with your hands, like if you just pushed them out of the play area, that would cause a reset, no points. But if you had any kind of hook of any sort, and I don't know if that's how it works in amateur, like, is that how it works when you go out of, because I'm not an expert on the rules of amateur wrestling, but I've seen that they wrestle in circles and they've got like the red, the blue, and the yellow, that sort of thing.
Right. It all depends. I know. So in folk style and amateur, like when you were taking them down out of bounds, it just kind of all depended on the angle of how far out they were. Most of the times they would just reset it and bring you back to the middle, depending how you took them down.
Did you ever get points for it or no?
No, it all depended. Like a certain amount of their body had to still be in the circle when you took them down to get a point, to get a point for it.
Yeah. Well, it seemed here if you had an underhook or any sort of hook at all and you got them out, it was like, I think they treated that as like a forced out, like like you mentioned, like almost like you were going to take them down, but they went out of the play area essentially.
Right.
So that was, and then I also noticed like you got, for that, you got like 1 or 2 points. If you got a full on takedown, I think they said you get like 5 points.
Yeah.
And then, if you were on the ground and you got a roll, like a near pin, that was like 2 points.
Yeah, something like that. And then there was like points for like reversal. I think you got 2 points for reversal.
Yeah. I don't know all the rules. That's the thing. Like with amateur wrestling, I understand a lot of the techniques just from like MMA and some training I've done. And I understand a lot of the names of the moves, but I don't necessarily understand the actual technical rules. Actually, I'm the same with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because there's so many different leagues and stuff. I don't know all the rules of, like the mundials and stuff like that. And, they all have different rule sets. I don't know how all that works.
Yeah, in amateur folk style, at least when I did it, I don't know if they've changed it since I've been in high school, but you got 2 points for a takedown, 2 for a reversal, 1 for an escape, and then you got points for near falls, and then also a pin end of the match.
Gotcha. Well, do they usually also have in a U.S. like a high school match? Is it 2 3-minute rounds?
It's 3 2-minute rounds.
Okay, that's pretty short.
Yeah.
Huh. So cool. So yeah, this match was interesting. Both guys came out full on with the,
in the singlet,
in the
real
singlets.
ass wrestling. John Juris approved.
They came out in the singlets. I don't know what. Great O'Khan had this giant white headband wrapped towel wrapped around his head.
He had to tape his ponytail up because you're not allowed to have your hair down in wrestling. So you have long hair, you have to have it put up.
See, I remember him wrestling with a bald head, back when he was a young lion. So I forgot about his hair altogether. I thought it was a fashion statement. I was like, it's an interesting choice he made. But they came out. They had a straight up amateur folk style wrestling match. This kind of reminded me of some of the 1920s tape I've seen with Joe Stecker and Earl Caddock and guys like that. It looked like a shoot a little bit, but not quite.
Yeah. But yeah, interesting stuff here. Told some stories here in the opening round one. Definitely favored to Great O'Khan. He was in control for majority of this round, and he was up. He ended the round 4-1. He got a takedown. He got 2 points towards the end of the round there, so he ended the round there 4-1. And then they came back with round 2 with Yano being down 3 points and having to fight his way back and getting some great takedowns. He did a great belly-to-belly suplex towards the end, which gave him 4 points and put him ahead in the final 30 seconds, and then Yano just kind of stalled the time out there by the end, and he ended up winning 6-5.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting. It felt like I thought they told as good of a quote unquote story as you could, working a legit amateur style. Kind of a departure from the Yano character. There's no shenanigans. There's no bullshit. I saw a lot of scores that were down on this, but I don't know. I thought it was kind of fun and fine. And it was short. It was 6 minutes. And
right. And it was way better than what I think we all thought potentially could have happened, being a ha-ha kind of jokey and, Yano finding a way to do a roll-up and gimmicks and all this stuff.
Do you remember that time when Earthquake wrestled Yokozuna in a sumo wrestling match on Raw?
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah. So this in some ways kind of reminded me of that, but also that was more bullshit than this was. They really worked this for real.
Yeah.
We have some questions here. Dom Homie 101 asked, what are your guys' thoughts on the amateur wrestling match that took place at Power Struggle between Yano and O'Khan? Do you guys want to see another amateur wrestling match in the near future?
Well, like we said, I thought this was pretty good here for being an amateur wrestling match. Obviously, O'Khan and Yano are, they have that skill set. And if we were to see it again in the near future, I would like it to be with guys like Yano and O'Khan, and these guys that have this shoot amateur background and can make it look good.
Yeah. There's a part of me that sort of quasi loves that Inokiism shit. So I mean, we got an exhibition match the other week with ZSJ and Shibata. Now we're getting an amateur style wrestling, folk style match with O'Khan and Yano. I don't know, give me this shit over some of the comedy that Yano's been known for.
Right.
I'm cool with it. What if the KOPW title becomes synonymous as being the real ass wrestling belt?
The shooter belt.
Yeah, you gotta fucking shoot to win this thing,
Dude, that'd be great.
What if this is their way of reverting Yano to a more serious?
Yeah, where's a singlet from now on?
It's everything the Pure Tile thought it wanted to be.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with it. I mean, would I do it all the time? No. And do I think there's a big demand for it? No.
Yeah.
But do I think that it was a fun little diversion and, something that's kind of unique? And I mean, it was non-offensive. Sure. Why not? The moment they do a really bad amateur match, that's when I'm gonna be like, fuck no, get this off of the screen. But this one is fine, Right.
And it was right before the intermission. So good little way to, reset and get ready for the last few title matches here.
It also made sense considering the backgrounds of both guys.
Right.
So
like they just pull it out of nowhere. Like, it wasn't like Chase Owens and like Utero wrestling each other in a amateur wrestling match.
That'd be funny. The_dark_soldier asked, from the start, should Okada have won the KOPW trophy? It was his idea to bring it to life, and with him. It would have been something for him to do and would have given it some immediate prestige. Wouldn't Okada in some fun and different stipulation matches, like an Iron Man match, 2 out of 3 falls, steel cage, like how it was proposed in the beginning, have been better than just a Yano comedy belt?
Well, I mean, I think we've kind of expressed our opinions on KOPW last year when it was first formed and how it shouldn't have just happened in the first place. Like, gimmick matches should be used to in heated rivalries and be built up to it. It shouldn't just happen because, oh, well, we have a title, so we have to use gimmicks. And I think from day one we saw that they were never planning to do Ironmans and cage matches and stuff like that. It was always going to be this kind of comedy blindfold match, bull rope, duct tape, all this kind of comedy, a comedy thing for Yano to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to have a whole big discussion about this again. I hate to do this, and I don't think I've ever really done it too much on the show, but like, I would say we had an extensive and lengthy discussion about this when it was announced previous years. When was that? Right before Jingu Stadium, right?
Yeah. So that would have been like last August. Yeah.
So, I mean, I would recommend, if you haven't listened to that, maybe go back to that episode, find that sound clip. It's out there. We have a lengthy discussion, and I mean, my feelings have not changed one bit about this. And, we kind of explained what the options were, and I think I did come to the conclusion that, like, if a guy like Yano won this belt and just turned it into a comedy afterthought, that would be better than the alternative, which is a vast departure from the house style and tradition of New Japan Pro Wrestling by having a bunch of meaningless, ladder matches and steel cage matches and death matches, blah, blah, like, I'm not a proponent of that just for the sake of doing it. I do want to say fuck you to Kazuchika Okada for even introducing this idea in the first place. It seems like it was we'll talk about some of the ideas this dude's had, but it's one of the biggest troll jobs ever to, like, introduce this belt and know that it's going to be a dumpster fire. He's never going to touch it, and then just get the fuck out of there,
Right out of Dodge, yeah.
That's why his group is called Chaos, because he's a fucking agent of chaos. He likes to see the world burn. He's like the Joker in Dark Knight, There's no rhyme or reason to it. He just was like, it would be cool? Let's get some matches where you can't use your finisher going, okay?
Well,
how about that?
He was like, hey, we put the belt on Evil. Let's try some other crazy ideas.
Do a bull rope match. Doesn't that sound dope as fuck? Oh, me? I'm not going to do it. But my boy Yano, he'll do it. So, I'm kind of glad that it's relegated to this lower level deal. And I would not care to see Kazuchika Okada probably going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Right.
At 34 years old, has more highly rated matches than Kenta Kobashi or Mitsuharu Misawa or Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels. The greatest wrestlers probably ever lived. Mixing it up in fucking, I don't know, blindfold matches and shit. Like, and I understand that's not what the question asker asked, but that's the natural, like, progression of a title like this,
Right, like, not every match could be a big, huge gimmick match. Like, yeah, you're gonna get the blindfold, you're gonna get the handcuff, the two count pinfall.
Yeah, ew. Yeah. Anyways, we'll move on.
But one thing before we move on, post-match, Aaron Hanare hit the ring, jumped Yano. Great Khan hit the Eliminator, and then Yuji Nagata came in and made the save and cleared the ring. And I don't think there'll be any more defenses, so I think Yano is ending the year as the 2021 KOPW.
the official champion.
Yeah.
And also the lineal provisional champion as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So double champ. Because you don't need to hold the trophy to be lineal champ. The lineal title is its own thing. Plus, you also, he's also getting the distinction of winning the official trophy as well.
Right.
It makes sense to me.
So,
I love, bro. What I love is Canelo fought this weekend, and every time I talk about boxing to like Rich, like he always talks about dudes beating other people for their belts. He's like, take that man's belt at the end of the match. I'm like, bro, that's not how it works. The way it works is they pay. So there's two fighters, right? They both pay a sanctioning fee to, like, let's say it's the IBF, right? One guy comes in as the IBF champion. But if the champion loses, right, they do not take his physical belt that he paid for from him. He takes that home with him as a trophy to recognize that he was champion. And the commission has created a new belt that they will award the new champion.
right.
They both go home with belts, and only one of them is recognized as the champion. The old guy can't carry his belts around and show it on TV, but he gets to put it in a trophy case at home and keep it. And I've tried to explain this to Rich so many times, and he doesn't I think he does get it, but
He's
like
just trolling you.
but he trolls me. It's like, I don't fucking get it. He's like, there's one belt, you win the belt, you take the man's belt, and I'm like, that's not how it works.
Yeah, I mean, if those guys, they follow New Japan rules, I mean, they could take out their belts again and proclaim themselves as real champs.
That whole post-match attack, I missed it. I think I started fast-forwarding through the because I knew it was halftime or whatever.
The commercials.
So yes, I did not. I didn't see that Hinari and Okan got their heat back at the end.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And obviously those guys are going to be a team in the World Tag League, so getting them some heat there.
What if Okan what if next year Yano decides to start carrying around like the UWF 30 belt or the U30 the IWGP U30 belt as like a physical representation of the KOPW title?
He could do that.
He could.
I mean, we have
There'd be no rules against it.
Right. We can bring back any title.
He should resurrect the WWF World Martial Arts Heavyweight title that Inoki carried in the 80s and use that as the representation of the KOPW title.
Then all KOPW matches can be martial arts fights.
Or the greatest eight. You know what he could do? Just start collecting all the belts that have been gotten rid of. The U30 belt, the fucking martial arts title, the greatest 18 title, the NWF belt, the WWF international title. Just bring them all back and walk around like Ultimo Dragon. And like whoever wins the KOPW, it's like a troll job on them. They have to carry like 8 belts.
Oh man.
When they go to a US show,
yeah,
they gotta carry
all that. Yep.
But they can't like carry all that like through an international flight, so they have to have it like shipped first class overseas, and they gotta pay for it out of pocket.
Be a nice little rib to pull on somebody.
Yeah. But that's gonna bring us to the serious part of the show. So we had 4 different singles matches, big implications. First match of the second half of the show, we had an IWGP Junior Heavyweight title match as Robbie Eagles, the defending champion, wrestled El Desperado. And he was defeated by the former champion, 18 minutes, 20 seconds. We have a new IWGP Junior Heavyweight champion. His name is El Desperado, and he is carrying that belt into the Best of the Super Juniors 2021.
I would just like to take my little victory lap here of accurately predicting Despy winning the title here, going into the tournament as champion. I know there's a lot of doubters, or there are people questioning me, but I just thought it made all sense in the world, and so did Gato, and we have a new junior champ here.
What do you mean victory lap? You pay attention to what you said the week before?
Yes.
Bro, I don't pay the fuck attention to what I said the week before at all. Like, I literally don't even know who I predicted. Did I ride with you or no?
No, well, eventually you did, but you were giving me several questioning on why I was going with Despy, and you're laying out the case for Eagles.
Stop all that noise. I rode with you at the end?
Yes.
Okay, so we need to be taking a victory lap. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying that I value my ratings, takes, and opinions. They're not a game and they're not a joke. And I from the get, I was confident, 100%.
So it only counts if you had it from the get, not if you made the final decision.
Well, I mean, I had to sway you. I had to bring you in.
That's like if you go to heaven and you live your whole life, living right, and I only decide to live right at the end, and we both make it, right? We both fucking made it, But you're like, but I was living right from the get. This fool over here made a last minute decision,
right?
Switch sides,
means
like
more righteous.
That should be one of your gimmicks on this show. More righteous.
Oh
my god. But anyway, so this this match, I liked it quite a bit. I'm probably I don't know if anything in particular really stood out to me extensively, but I liked the action a lot. It felt like we've had some good junior matches this year, but it felt like we thought this was going to be the year of junior, because we thought that we're getting a junior tag league at the end of last year and then another one in like May when we normally do. But, apparently that's not the case. So it really hasn't been the year of junior like we sort of predicted. We haven't had a lot of truly great junior tag or junior title matches or anything like that. I know these guys had a good match earlier in the year. I kind of feel like this one might have been better, in my opinion. And, it just sort of felt like, again, how we talked about the show going back to a sense of normalcy. The high-flying, fast-paced, junior action was kind of restored here a little bit.
Yeah, I really enjoy this matchup. I did like this one better than the first. And in a way, this was almost kind of a mirror match because both of these guys have leg submission moves. Despy has that numero dos, the Brock Lock, the stretch muffler, whatever you want to call it. And Robbie Eagles has that Ron Miller special that he does. So both guys were attacking the knee. Both guys do that tope con hilo, suicide dive, flip through the middle. Despy hit that towards the beginning, and then later on in the match, Robbie hit that. And then throughout the match, both guys were working on each other's legs and knees to set up each other's submission move.
That's true. They did, and I don't want to discount that, but it felt like in the first match, there was a lot of really prolonged leg work sequences, which isn't bad. That match was good too, but this one felt more like a lot of back and forth. They were both going after the leg, but it didn't feel like 5 minutes of Despy heat or 4 minutes of prolonged Robbie Eagles shine on the leg. It didn't feel like that to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of great counters, a lot of great near falls. Despy hitting his spine buster into the numero dos was a cool little spot. Robbie reversed I think he reversed the Pinche Loco into the Acai DDT. That was cool.
Yo, do you know what Pinche Loco means?
Something crazy?
Yo, I didn't know this. It means fucking crazy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, I had no clue. It was pointed out to me this weekend. I was like, what? I'm always like, Pinche Loco!
Yeah, it was the Pinche Loco that he reversed into the Acai DDT, followed up with the 450 on the legs. Despy cut his knees up, but since his knees were also hurt from the previous work, that also hurt him in the process. So that was kind of
loved that moment.
Yeah, kind of a reset spot there. And then Robbie hits a Poison Rana, tries for the Ron Miller. A lot of back and forth reversals. Hits the Guitarra de la Muerta for a near fall. Pinche Loco reversal into a Snap Rana near fall. Robbie once again tries to work on the knee, but then Despy reverses the Ron Miller into the numero dos. Robbie's in the middle of the ring. Eagles has to tap out. Despy is once again the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, man, what a year this guy's had. This is the second time this year he's carried the belt. He challenged for the double gold in February or March. headlined, Super Juniors against Hiromu at the end of last year, and now he's going into Super Juniors as the champion once again. Multiple junior tag team title reigns along the way. We'll do the episode, but I think El Desperado's got a real claim for junior heavyweight of the year in New Japan this year. And this might have been that deciding, victory when it comes to that sort of consideration.
Yeah, definitely going to be a very strong nominee. Probably, I could definitely see him as a favorite. There is that kind of cult despot following out there. And so I definitely think this could be his year to take home the award.
Yeah, and I love the end here, the way that they sold the finish, because Robbie was caught in that Pinche Loco, and Desperado's wrenching on it, and Robbie's like, no. And I was like, dude, he's in the middle of the ring. It doesn't look like he's getting out. I was like, this is about to be it. And then he looks, and he's like, yeah.
Yeah, because, it was the full numero dos. He had both arms trapped. Like, there's literally nowhere for Robbie to go.
What did I call it? Did I call it the Pinche Loco?
Yeah, the Pinche Loco is the angel wings.
No, I know what it is, but did I call it that?
Yeah.
I always make that mistake. Yes, the numero dos. Or the Brock Lock, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, really good match. 4 stars, 18 minutes. Great match. And sets these two guys to go into the Super Juniors, which we'll talk about in a minute. 7th match of the night. We had the IWGP United States Heavyweight title on the line as Kenta defeated the reigning champion Hiroshi Tanahashi. Another title change on this show. 23 minutes, 44 seconds. And we got a lot of questions here, a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, so, I don't think this was the best Kenta-Tanahashi match, but I definitely do think people are underrating it. I thought this was really good. Something that popped me at the beginning, obviously, Tanahashi was doing the air guitar, and he throws it to Kenta, and then Kenta turns it into a violin, and then tosses it back to Tanahashi, and then got the advantage from there.
Yeah, I too really liked this match, believe it or not. I'm not going to sit here and claim it was a classic by any means, but I thought it was far from the low ratings that I've kind of seen thrown around on Cage Match and Grapple. It seemed like a lot of people were very down on the encounter, and I think maybe some of that was due to there were some miscues, some mistiming, some botches, and some sluggish movements, especially on the side of Hiroshi Tanahashi in particular. But I don't think it was enough to bring the match down to a sense where I'd say the match was bad. I thought the match was pretty good, actually, and I'd probably go 3 3/4 on it, honestly.
Yeah, I'm about that on the rating as well. And, telling a story here of kind of an injured Tanahashi. Kenta hit a power slam on the ramp to Tanahashi early in the match, and that was kind of the key focal point. He would go back to the power slam in the ring in the match and throwing Tanahashi into the guardrail. He pulled a table out to put Tanahashi through, but Tanahashi eventually put Kenta through. High fly flow from the inside to the out through the table on Kenta. Awesome looking spot.
That was an awesome moment.
Yeah, great looking spot in the match there. Kenta's back gets all cut up and he's bleeding from that.
And that, yeah, I'm looking right now. Cage Match has this at 6.70, which, that's basically 3 1/4 essentially. Mm-hmm. Maybe 3.5. Maybe 3.5 if you're generous, And I don't know, man. That felt really low for me. I know a lot. I don't know. Yeah, people thought that they had a really bad performance. I loved that table spot.
Yeah, that table spot was great. I think a lot of people, like I was saying last week in the preview, I think a lot of people were just down on Kenta with a lot of shenanigans that he did in the G1. And then this match, there was some of that same shenanigans. He did use the exposed corner, which was kind of the story of his whole G1. He's at exposed corner a lot to pick up wins, and that's exactly what he did here. He threw Tana into the exposed turnbuckle and followed up with a GTS to get the win here.
Well, since we did it last week, I think we should jump into the weekly, as long as I want to do it, highlighted match review, courtesy of Cage Match. Najo Braun wrote on the 7th of November, 2021, awful match. Possibly the worst big New Japan match in my memory. I haven't watched such bad matches, and I'm reading this verbatim. I haven't watched such bad matches for a very long time. For almost 25 minutes, Kenta and Tanahashi simply disgraced themselves. Kenta has regressed a lot, and if earlier he looked like a bad copy of Jay White, now Kenta looks like a parody of Evil. Kenta urgently needs a face turn because he is very bad as a heel. Too much cheating and too little pro wrestling. In addition, the match itself was very slow. There was little action, psychology, or chemistry. Only made things worse. The ending was nice and some of the sequences were interesting, but that's all about it. I also think the title change was a terrible booking decision, especially considering the upcoming Wrestle Kingdom. Maybe this was done because of Moxley, who went to recover from alcoholism. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
I didn't even read this whole thing. Now I'm like, oh, I should have read this. I don't know. But I know that for the third year in a row, Tana becomes the champion, only to lose the belt in the first or second defense, which hurts the status of all these belts. So, yeah, it was a very bad match that did a lot of damage to an otherwise good show. 1.5 stars.
Wow. Are you kidding me?
So, Najo Braun, you are the highlighted review of the week on Keeping It Strong Style.
Yikes.
Oh, man. So, yeah, I felt very differently than that.
Yeah, I'm definitely the 3 3/4.
Oh, man. I'm popping myself right now. One thing I will say, though, I thought I disagree with him vehemently. I think Kenta and Tanahashi have great natural chemistry. I thought that the pace of the match was a tad slow, but it wasn't the worst. Tanahashi didn't look like Tanahashi, though.
Yeah, he was moving kind of rough. I don't know if that power slam on the ramp took more out or he just was, banged up from the G1. I don't know what it was.
But here's the thing, man. Not only is he banged up, looking like we've seen that many times over the years. Like, I can't tell you how many times like Tanahashi's come off of a big match and, kind of look ragged or come off a G1, and moved sort of gingerly. But it wasn't just that physically. He had a belly. He just kind of looked deflated. He was looking sort of Jericho-esque, if you know what I'm saying. Which is weird because if you think about how he looked recently in like the Shingo match and the Ibushi match, I mean, it's kind of crazy how this man has the ability. Like, he's got like Super Saiyan like regeneration skills. Like, he goes in like some sort of
hyperbolic time chamber.
Yeah, he goes into a hyperbolic time chamber and like comes out with abs and shit. And then, 6 weeks later, it's gone. I don't know what. He's up and down. There's a lot of fluctuation. And, I was talking to someone recently about working out, because I'm down 20 pounds, like I mentioned. But, they're like, well, if you want to gain muscle, you got to do X, Y, and Z. And, like, you really got to cut down the cardio. I was like, yeah, but if I want to wrestle, I also need insane cardio. And then I started thinking, I was talking to someone. I was like, bro, like, what you need to wrestle is, like, unrealistic for most humans. You need to have the kind of cardio that like an endurance like runner has or like a professional athlete. Plus you need to be strong as a motherfucking ox and you need to look like some sort of professional fighter or bodybuilder essentially.
Right.
And to have a workout regimen that lends itself to all three of those things is like kind of hard to do. So I'm like, man, all these expectations on a guy like Tanahashi, this got to be hard. But, he didn't look like himself. And it was probably the first time in all these years that I watched him where I was like, man, he doesn't look like the guy in the Tokyo Dome against Kenny Omega from just a couple years ago anymore.
Right.
And I'm not saying will he have abs by the time Wrestle Kingdom comes around?
Yes.
Yes. But, dude, he had trouble on 2 or 3 occasions just jumping over the ropes to get in position for high fly flows and aces highs and shit. Like, right. That was weird. I've never really seen that from him.
Yeah, man, he's getting up there, and we always ride with the ace, but I mean, Eventually, he's gonna break down. It's my dad's a heel wrestler coming to life right now.
Oh man. The other thing too is like obviously I didn't watch the G1, and I know you did, and you mentioned people getting tired of Kenta's tactics. But there's a part of me that's like, how many people really watched this year's G1? And this didn't seem to be like a super buzzworthy G1. I don't know how many people were psychos like you, watched the whole thing. I bet you there's a lot of people that probably parachuted in or maybe didn't even watch it and then came in for this big show like me and never experienced those shenanigans. And there were some things, there's a lot of powders from Kenta early on, which maybe that's what this reviewer was talking about when he was saying, quote unquote, like Jay White. As if Jay White and Kenta are the only two wrestlers who ever taken powders in the beginning of a fucking match.
Right, like Jay White invented powders.
Yeah. Speaking of which, didn't we all make a pact in our friend group that when we decided to leave, we'd call it powdering? And then we haven't done that ever. We need to uphold that vow that we made.
Well, we'll run it for Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. Time to powder out. Everyone get the fuck out of my house. Yo, you guys take a powder. Everyone gets up and leaves. But I don't know, like Kenta cheated, he's a heel. It's fine. Like this wasn't,
and it's nowhere near as egregious as evil.
No, it's not as egregious as evil. And in the past, Kenta's had, like last year's G1, he was pretty inoffensive, and this past year, he's had matches against Tanahashi, couldn't beat him. Makes sense why he cheated from a storyline perspective. I'm not trying to cap for it, and I'm not saying this is the greatest match, but they're trying to make the ace look strong. The ace can beat him in a fair, straight up one-on-one. This guy used every trick in his book to lift the title off of him. It's fine,
Right.
And the only thing I'm sad about it is I wanted Kenta to go on a never-ending odyssey to win the red belt. And unfortunately, that has already come into fruition. So, whatever.
Yeah, they might have some other plans for him with that red belt, though.
The other thing, too, if you think about it, Kenta, this isn't the first time that they've belted him up at Power Struggle just before Wrestle Kingdom. They did this not that long ago with the Never title and had him and Goto run it,
Right, yeah. When he won, he beat Ishii at Royal Quest.
Right. So, I guess it was it Royal Quest? I thought Royal Quest was the match he didn't win, and then Power Struggle was the one where he got it.
Yeah.
Am I incorrect?
Because the Power Struggle was the match he was like knocked out in.
No,
Royal Quest was the match he was knocked out in. So I think
Royal Quest the one where he didn't win it, and I think he won it at Power Struggle. Or maybe I don't know. I can't remember.
I can't remember. Yeah.
But anyways, it's not like they've done this same thing before, so it kind of makes sense. Like they want to have Kenta in a prominent spot. It's not like Tanahashi needs the belt to do something big at the Dome. If hypothetically, it seems like him and Jon Moxley were gearing up for something potentially. And let's say Jon Moxley comes out of rehab, and let's say Tanahashi's ready to go. They don't need the fucking red belt,
right?
And now you've got that set up, ready to go, and then Kenta can defend the belt against, I don't know, Goto, since that's who they like to put him up against at Wrestle Kingdoms for secondary titles.
Well, I mean, post-match, he called out one CM Punk, Mr. Phil Brooks, CM Punk, I will put you to sleep. Obviously, these guys have had a beef over the go to sleep and Punk stealing all of Kenta's moves back in the Ring of Honor days.
All of them. I don't know if that would feasibly happen, but I wouldn't be opposed to it,
Right. Also, we don't know exactly what the AEW schedule's been looking like around Wrestle Kingdom, and if guys, I know things are opening up for people to come back in. So,
listen, I haven't been keeping up with AEW like you probably have, so I haven't seen as many Punk's recent matches. But this Saturday, his match with Kingston, a real man's match, is going to tell me a lot about whether I want to see him wrestle a hard, style hitter like Kenta or not.
Right.
So, we'll see where we go from there. And we'll see if that's the thing. It's like Kenta definitely, he cut that promo. Everyone's talking about him and Punk, but can they deliver on it? Maybe. I don't know. It makes me wonder if like New Japan needs to have some sort of at least some level of oversight on the like promos these guys cut, because I don't like the idea that they would tease something that might not happen, but if it is going to happen, cool, you know.
Well, maybe it might not happen in New Japan. I mean, Kenta lives in the States. Maybe it's going to happen on an AEW show.
They're going to run it at Side Dojo. So we got some questions here. Dom Homie 101 said, do you guys think Kenta winning the U.S. belt was an audible, or was it the original plan?
I feel all of 2021 has been an audible.
Well, I guess he's probably alluding to what that reviewer mentioned with Jon Moxley, you know, and could that have played a part in the booking decision, which I don't really have a strong feeling one way or the other, but it is possible.
It is, but I don't know. I feel like if they really wanted a Tanahashi U.S. title match, they would have kept it on Tanahashi, and there's plenty of people that you could bring in to face Tanahashi for the U.S. title. But could you do Archer and Kenta, since they had interactions in that tag match back in AEW earlier this year? You can definitely do that, especially since Archer was the U.S. champ this year going into Resurgence, so that's definitely a possibility.
Remember when Tanahashi said he was coming to defend the belt in AEW and he was giving the first title shot to Archer? I guess that's out the window.
Yeah.
Next question from Viking Pain said, so we're getting Kenta versus Shibata at Wrestle Kingdom 16 for the U.S. title, right?
I mean, if Shibata can get cleared, I mean, that would be a pretty dope match to do.
Well, you know how this company is. I mean, we've got the fucking San Francisco show coming up. That show's in San Francisco, right?
San Jose.
Okay, San Jose show. And then we got like World Tag League, Best of Super Juniors. It's not a lot of time to really build a program. So is Kenta in World Tag League?
He's not.
Okay, so I'm kind of wondering how they even build something between now and then, you know?
Well, they could use Strong. Obviously, he could be a surprise appearance at Battle in the Valley. He could show up at the Detonation TV tapings. Obviously, Shibata being in LA sometimes, they could do an angle there.
Yeah, that's not a bad call. And I mean, we got some news here, but it seems like things are a little more open as far as travel restrictions. So, yeah, I mean, the idea that someone U.S. bound from, you know, the U.S. roster or something like that could be a potential. I mean, maybe Shibata. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pussy Destroyer 83619 said Chase Owens got robbed. He beat Tanahashi one-on-one, and Kenta gets the first shot, and now he's champion. Do you think this will lead anywhere or just get swept under the rug?
Man, this is the Ishii beating Okada in the G1 moment right here for Chase Owens.
The exact same thing. Ishii beating Okada and Chase Owens, the crown jewel, beating Hiroshi Tanahashi. Same shit.
Exactly. Ishii was robbed. He never got a crack at Okada. Chase was robbed, never got a crack at the Ace. And now he's back the line. I mean, now he's in World Tag League. His U.S. dreams are over.
Yeah. Who's that?
Chase
Owens? Okay. Yeah, he's got to fight Oiwa next.
He's got to fight the Brooklyn Brawler.
That's who he's got to fight Yuto Nakashima next. Okay. Last question. Oh, that's it. So then it's going to bring us to the semi-main event of the evening. We had the IWGP World Heavyweight Title #1 contendership match as the G1 winner, Kazuchika Okada, defended his title. What do they call it in WWE? Championship opportunity?
Yeah, he gave Tama a championship opportunity.
Yeah, he defended his championship opportunity against Tama Tonga with Jado. Match went 25 minutes, 13 seconds. Although you might have been confused here, because although it's not for a title, it's for a championship opportunity, Okada felt compelled to bring out the IWGP Heavyweight version 4 belt.
Yeah, now if I remember correctly, Red Shoes lifted the belt up before the match.
I don't remember that. That's funny.
Yeah, so this match has been getting a ton of praise from Dave, from reviewers, fans. Everybody's been going crazy about this match and just Tama Tonga's performance in this match. And for me, I was not that high as several of the other people rating this match. I thought it was a very good match. I think I liked the G1 match a little bit better. I think for me, the thing that just really hurt it for me is like I knew that there was no shot whatsoever that Tama Tonga was going to beat Kazuchika Okada. So I kind of checked out a little bit in the beginning of the match, and I didn't bite on a lot of near falls. I mean, it was a lot of great wrestling. There was a ton of great sequences. Obviously, Tama working for the gun stun all throughout the match, which helped him pick up the G1 win. And also busting out a lot of that signature offense that he used in the G1 this year, that rolling DDT, his flying body splash, which he calls the Supreme Flow. Also busted out the Bloody Sunday as well. And there was a great sequence that led into the Bloody Sunday. Tama hitting a tombstone. And then Okada kind of eventually came back in and taking control and hitting the Rainmaker to get the win.
Yeah. So, kind of like you mentioned, this match was interesting in the sense that, like, now I thought it was good, obviously, and I'm sure I'm echoing your sentiments, but like a lot of the reviews for this are just like very, very high. And I feel like that's a lot of cap. I think maybe some of it is goodwill towards Tama Tonga, and he's definitely deserving of it. I don't want to undercut him or undermine him. I thought he had a good performance here, and obviously some of what he did during the G1 is kind of carried over into this match as far as the public perception. But to me, at 25 minutes, 13 seconds, I mean, it kind of felt like Okada ate him up.
Yeah.
There was, I guess, what you'd call back and forth, but a lot of it was like Tama trying to be sneaky and wily enough to pull out the big stun gun again and get the upset on Okada, and Okada just being too smart, cutting him off every time he tried to do any sort of reversal. There's good sequences for sure, but there was no point really where I bit on any sort of near fall or reversal spot or any kind of scare that maybe he was going to hit the big move. And then at 25 minutes he hit Tama Tonga with the fucking Rainmaker, pinned him 1, 2, 3, and the look on Tama's face was a man who was tired. Like, he looked kind of blown up, and hats off to him. I don't think his performance was one of a man who was blown up at all. I think he fucking showed that he can go in the ring, obviously. But when that 1, 2, 3 came up, I looked at his face. He was like, this man was huffing. And you usually don't see a man huffing. You usually see a man like kind of prone, like eyes closed. This man's eyes are wide open. He looked like he was seeing stars, dude.
Well, that man was wrestling really, really hard in this match.
He wrestled hard as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm more in like the 3 3/4 range. I know there's people.
I'd go like 3.5 on this, man.
Oh wow, yeah.
It wasn't a bad match. It was good, but like I don't know. Maybe part of it was the fact that just Okada's not going to lose to Tama Tonga to go into the fucking Wrestle Kingdom. Like, it's just not going to happen. So maybe there's also that lack of intrigue for me,
Right. It was definitely like kind of a random guy to do this match with, and maybe they also needed somebody that Okada can beat, and it wouldn't hurt them. Also, Tama kind of fits that, but at the same time, like, is there not anybody else that was a little bit higher up on the picking order that could have been a little bit more believable of them beating Okada and going into Wrestle Kingdom?
I disagree. Here's where my feelings are, and you've kind of said this in the past. They should have built him up better over the course of A, the G1, B, post G1, in the tag matches and the preview matches. He should have been made to look very strong. They didn't do any of that. So it was sort of just like, he's the only guy that beat Okada in the G1. De facto, he gets the title shot, but like, they did not make him look credible. Now, he made himself look credible. Physically, it's the best I've ever seen Tama Tonga look. In terms of skill in-ring wise, this is the best Tama Tonga's ever looked. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh. Maybe I could go a little higher on that match rating. Maybe 3.5, 3 3/4 is appropriate. I'd probably go 3.5 max. But they didn't do him any favors in the way they presented him.
Not at all.
And I would have had him look better in the G1. I don't mean in terms of match quality. I mean in terms of like wins, yeah, win percentage.
He lost to Goto on the last night.
Exactly.
Then he goes out and challenges Okada. Like, bro, you just lost to Goto.
Yep, he lost to Goto, and then he wasn't picking up the wins in the tag matches in the preview shows. It just didn't really make sense. I mean, how are you supposed to even believe in the guy? I mean, this is booking 101. It's not that crazy what I'm saying, you know?
Right.
But it is what it is, you know? So Okada picks up the win. I feel like they felt like it was an attaboy for Tama Tonga for everything that him and his brother have done over the years and during, the pandemic specifically. And I mean, he was in fucking shape and he wrestled fucking hard. I actually don't think he was the reason the match was on the downside. I think it was Okada, if you want my honest opinion. And it was a lot of all the times that they went to the
money clip.
Fucking money clip, man. That money clip kills matches, and it still does. It's still not over after all these years. Like, it's a failed experiment at this point.
Yeah, especially in a clap crowd environment, it's rough.
Yeah, maybe it could have got over with real crowds that could have really reacted and learned to react to it. But man, he picked the wrong time to bring that shit up. So this match, like, while it was good, it got me to the point where I was like, I got to turn the show off. I actually didn't watch the last match in sequence. I didn't watch the last match until today. That's kind of how, like, even though the match was good, I just kind of, like, I don't know, I felt a little worn out from it.
Yeah.
But the main event, the real IWGP World Heavyweight title.
We had a question from Viking Pain.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to skip over that. Viking Pain said, after Tama's stellar G1 run this year and his fantastic Okada match, do you think this could be the beginning of a nice singles push for him? A U.S. never or singles title run would be great for him.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be a start of something for him. I mean, we've seen that Tama's very popular in the U.S., so being U.S. champion eventually or being the strong openweight champion, and if he's going to be on Strong more, could make a ton of sense. The Never title, obviously, Jay has it right now, and if they're going to keep that title as like the number 2, I'm not sure if he'd win that. I mean, he could definitely challenge for it. I don't know if he'd win that, but definitely maybe more of a U.S. or a Strong title run would be good for him.
I wouldn't be opposed to an experimental Tama Tonga title reign of some sort. I mean, before this G1, if you asked me that, I'd say no. But after this G1, sure, why not,
Yeah.
Carl Anderson broke himself off from being a tag guy to getting singles runs and title shots and stuff like that. Why not?
Yeah, I'm for it.
IWGP World Heavyweight title match. The champion, Shingo Takagi, defends his title against Zack Sabre Jr. They went 30 minutes, 27 seconds in what I would deem as a classic.
Yeah, this match was awesome. These guys, 2 of the best wrestlers in the world. These guys have great chemistry. Story of the match here. So obviously going into this match, Sabre tapped out Shingo with the arm bar in the G1. So kind of having the edge here over Shingo. But coming in here, the story of the match was Shingo was kind of going hole for hole with Zack in the beginning and kind of out wrestling Zack and kind of, beating Zack at his own game. And really forcing Zack to come up with some new things and do some different things. Also, he did the La Mystica into the arm bar and, doing some more strike exchanges, doing some, German exchanges, and just a lot of great back and forth counters and transitions here.
Now, I didn't see the first match, okay? So that's one, after seeing this, I'm like, fuck, I need to go back and rewatch that match to kind of get the full scope. But, bro, did I love this. And I thought it was a nice touch that they just went over the 30-minute mark because I think that that's a little bit telling as well. Do you remember how long the first match even went?
I don't remember. I think it was definitely over 20.
Okay. So, I mean, the one thing that I do know about that match is they went deep into the match, and then obviously Sabre caught him in an armbar / triangle, and it caused the tap very quickly at that point in the tournament,
Yeah, I feel like there was like a few minutes left, and he tapped him out, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And the thing is, what's nice about that, there's a lot of logic there, because it's like, okay, winning in the G1 is important, but winning in the G1 isn't the same thing as winning when the title's on the line, because the title literally is not on the line. So there's less fear of loss from that standpoint. Plus, when you have a long, arduous tournament in front of you and you're early on, that match was like third or fourth in that round of that block, and you got a guy like Shingo who's looking at 5 or 6 more competitors in front of him. Do I, hold on and get my arm broken and risk the whole tournament,
right,
and maybe my title run? Or do I save myself, call him the better man, tap out, and live to fight another day? And that's where he went in that moment. And it kind of creates that sort of built-in excuse for a guy like Shingo. Like, yeah, he got bested, but like, what if it was a big match on a big show with the title on the line? Could a guy like Sabre still get him out of there,
Right.
And we got to a point in this match where they were going, like you mentioned, hold for hold, style for style. Shingo's trying to match, Sabre in every aspect of technical wrestling, and they're both going back and forth. And that's the nice thing. There were points where Shingo was definitely outsmarting him and showing him that he had his number, and he was very well versed in the technical game. But kind of the same thing with Sabre. There were a lot of times where Sabre was beating Shingo in the strike exchanges. So this was just kind of like your classic war of attrition.
Yeah.
And they got deep into the match, and there was a point where Sabre was he had Shingo on the ropes. He jumps up, puts him in the freaking Kimura, jumps off with him, and lands in a straight armbar position. Shingo blocks it, and I'm recalling all this from memory. And Sabre switches sides to the other side, gets the arm. Shingo's protecting that. Sabre locks it into, transitions to a triangle choke. And you see that moment where Shingo's getting ready to try to muscle up and maybe powerbomb him. And Sabre, extends his body and goes into the armbar. And you're like, oh, fuck, it's the same thing as the first match.
Yeah.
And you see the look of desperation on Shingo's face, and he gets the ropes this time because he is already prepared for the trick. And now we're deep into the match. And now, it's like, okay, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is not a 2-point match. This is for all the marbles. And, Zach threw everything at him. Zach hit him with the fucking Zach driver twice.
He did a spinning Zach driver. I popped huge for that. I bit for a near fall on that.
But that moment where he had him in the armbar, it kind of erased any doubts of was it a fluke, or was it, could he have beaten Shingo in that moment? It's like, I don't know if that same original match had happened and the title had been on the line and it was on a big show like this, if the results would have been the same,
Right.
It sort of seems like Shingo kind of took a calculated loss essentially, and it sort of speaks to his IQ as a champion,
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, speaking of his IQ, I loved his strategy in this match. Anytime Sabre got him in a hole, he just hurled his body to the ground. There's several times where Sabre would get him in a hole, and he would just quickly do a back bump of Sabre on his back. And there's one point where Sabre was going for a sleeper. He went up to the top, the middle rope, and jumped off with Sabre on his back. Until several times he would just throw himself to the ground when Sabre had him.
I don't think I even really noticed that, but that's interesting. But there was a lot of strategy here, and then towards the tail end, like you mentioned, Zach hit him twice with the Zach driver. The first time he couldn't get the pinfall. The second time he got the pinfall immediately, and I was like,
I bit for that.
I bit too, because I know Shingo's not going to lose. In fact, I was already spoiled on the finish by the time I watched it, but I was like, oh, he fucking hit it. And he kicks out, and I mean, he did everything. He did the
super armbar off the top rope.
The super armbar. He what's the cradle that he likes to do? The bridging cradle.
European clutch.
Yeah, he did a European clutch, which he's won a lot of matches with that. But what was really beautiful is just the technical wrestling between these guys, even between the brutality and the strong strikes and the clotheslines and fast-paced action. There was just so many reversals. These guys are just reading each other. Like, I don't know, man. This match just really fucking ruled. And, man, at the end, the rally that Sabre came up with where he's like, ah, and he's just fucking slapping the shit out of him. I was like, dude, this is the best Zach has ever been. I know Zach has always been fantastic and always been a best in the world type of guy and candidate. But I mean, you look at his physique, you look at his character, you look at the promos he's cutting, you look at the matches he's having, the way he's upped his game in so many different ways. Bro, Zach's one of the best wrestlers alive today. And this match just went to show that again. Shingo can do Shingo shit with anybody on any night. I love this match. Like, I'll tell you right now, we might need to have a rediscussion about match of the year candidates when it comes to this match.
So where are you with the snowflakes on this one? Sounds like you're higher than I am.
Oh yeah, I'm 4 3/4. I'm
okay.
Like I'm just outside of 5 stars on this shit.
Nice.
And you know what? It makes me really curious as to how good the first match was. I'll peel back the curtain. We've got 10 matches listed for match of the year. We've already finalized that. We've got the G1 match on the ballot. We don't have this match on the ballot as of right now, but I'm like, fuck, bro. This match was so good.
Yeah, we can definitely. I rated them both the same. I have them both at 4.5, so I wouldn't be upset if we switch it out for this one.
I wouldn't even say, I don't know if we should switch it out or not. I don't know. The thing is, I can't speak with enough confidence because I missed the whole G1, so that's the hard part. But damn, this match was good, bro. Like, and then at the very, very end, Zach kicking out a pump. Bro, there's a pumping bomber, and like we've always talked about Zach being not the greatest bumper. He probably still isn't, but like he took this pumping bomber and bumped on a high angle off of his shoulders and popped himself up like the fucking Rock taking a Stone Cold Stunner. I loved that. He kicked out of a Last of the Dragon. He kicked out of a pumping bomber.
Shop on eBay this holiday season to get more for your dough on stand mixers, or get more for your buck on this season's hottest tech and gaming gear. And on eBay, you can even get more Ooh. Bling for less cha-ching on jewelry. You can get more because you save more on premium brands with eBay's exclusive deals. Get more when you get it on eBay.
What you want is sometimes far from what you get. At Harry Ritchie's, we want you to get the heart-stopping, high-fiving diamond gift you want and pay for it the way you want. Our in-house financing lets you make payments that fit your budget and your life. Plus, at Harry Ritchie's, our jewelry is priced at an everyday, real price. That means you get all of the dazzle with none of the haggling. More boom for your buck. Now open at Clackamas Promenade. Harry Ritchie's, truly you.
Shingo kept going for cross faces. He kept transitioning out of other submission. Like he would get one submission and then go into another submission and be like, fuck it, crossface.
Yeah, he did the Samoa Joe combo, the power bomb into the STF, and then into the crossface.
Yeah, and that was the only time he did that. He did multiple transitions to the crossface. So there's two ways of looking at it. Maybe it was he's not that good at submissions and he's just going to what he knows, or it's a strategy. Hard to say.
Yeah.
But man, this match was good. And then finally, the only drawback was I felt like the finish when they went to the final sequence with the Last of the Dragon, while it was fitting, it did feel a little flat.
Kind of came out of nowhere.
Like they'd been building, and I feel like they crescendoed maybe 45, 50 seconds before. And Zach was just kind of out, and, Shingo puppy bombered him, put him up for the Last of the Dragon 1, 2, 3, which was fine, but it just felt a little, I don't even want to say out of nowhere. It just felt anticlimactic.
Yeah.
But with that being said, the match was outstanding. But hats off to those guys. Like, they got me energized, bro.
Yeah, and I love that Shingo continues to use the GTR and call it the Great Takagi Revolution.
He did use it. He used the rope assisted GTR, right?
Yeah, he's been used ever since that Goto feud. He's been doing it.
Okay, yeah. The other thing too, post match, Taichi's on commentary for the Japanese announce team, and he hops the railing, comes in, and ices down Zach. Zach is out of it, and like just that show of, again, Suzuki. We've seen it time and time again, the Suzuki-gun camaraderie, and it's always so evident when it comes to Zach and Taichi, and then Zack Sabre Jr. and Shingo just showing a lot of respect to one another, even after all the trash talk and everything. These guys, basically holding hands and holding each other's heads and like icing each other down, and like you didn't hear what they were saying, but like it almost felt like I saw like the number 2 being thrown up again. So it was almost like, you got one, I got one. Let's fucking meet again down the road.
Yeah, let's run it back. Yeah.
And I like that. And then this motherfucker Kazuchika Okada. Bro, I'm telling you right now, I don't think in the history of us doing this show I've ever been anti-Okada. Like, not through the pants, not
balloons.
through the balloons, not through the red hair, not through him introducing KOPW as a concept, not through him, fucking off in G1s, not through him, blacklisting and blackballing Kenny Omega, not through him putting Tanahashi out to pasture, or so it seemed at the time. But, bro, in this feud right now, I'm fucking over Kazuchika Okada.
Bro, I want Shingo to beat that man's ass again.
I want Shingo to beat his ass so bad.
This man, after he said he wasn't going to challenge, comes out after the match to challenge Shingo.
He came out with the fucking version 4 belt. Oh, man. Like, he's a fucking bitch, bro.
Oh, man, bro.
Oh,
yeah.
man. So he comes out. They go face to face. Chris Charlton wasn't there, so I didn't get to hear what they said, but it sounds something like, I got this fake belt. You want to put your real belt up? And he's like, fuck you, bitch. I'm champion. Something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty spot on. And then, we got the Wrestle Kingdom music. I know a lot of people, they started their Christmas music early. Well, it's November, and we're getting a start of Wrestle Kingdom music. So that was pretty good to hear towards the end of the show there.
They didn't point at the Wrestle Kingdom sign, though.
Because they forgot to put it up.
Yeah. That's my favorite part of Wrestle Kingdom season, is when they both look over at the sign, and then one of them points at the sign, the other one like shakes his head up.
Fireworks go off.
Yeah. But
that wraps up Power Struggle. There was a post Power Struggle press conference where we got the first official match for Wrestle Kingdom 16. So the match is set for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. In the press conference, champion Shingo Takagi, it was announced he will defend against Kazuchika Okada on January 4th. Takagi promised that he would retain the championship against Okada. He then mentioned that if he won, he would take the IWGP Heavyweight title that Okada is carrying and would give it to the appropriate IWGP advocate, mentioning that 2022 is NJPW's 50th anniversary.
Do you think he means Inoki?
Maybe, because I read the interview. He was like, you guys know who it is. I'm not going to say his name.
Well, I watched the video just before we recorded the show, and he was like, I've never met the man, but we all know who he is. And he even quoted someone as saying, like, if you have enough willpower and drive, anything is possible.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And
yeah.
I was like, that sounds like some shit Inoki would have said back in the day. Like, but, he's talking about the IWGP Advocate. I think I like to refer to this individual as a collective body called the IWGP Committee. So I think in fact, I think they actually probably mistranslated what he was saying. They call it they're trying to say he's saying IWGP Advocate, but I have it on good record that in Japanese, what he was saying was actually IWGP Committee. So there's some confusion there.
Then Okada also had some, more outrageous comments that I didn't copy down here, but he was talking about.
I heard them all.
They asked him like, "Oh, well, Shingo beat you twice this year. Like, how do you feel going in this match?" He was like, "That was then. This is now. That was a past." Like,
bro, there was other shit too. Like, they were like, so not only did they ask him about him losing twice, but they're like, this man defended, won the belt, defended against Tanahashi, defended against, Zack Sayer. Who else did he defend against? Ibushi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was supposed to defend against, but he defended Evil.
Oh, yeah. So they, mentioned the people he defended against. They're like, what have your thoughts been on, the state of the championship and, what are your thoughts on him beating you and everything like that? And he was like, well, to be honest, I can't say that I've seen any of his IWGP World Heavyweight title matches. I haven't watched them all or any of them.
Right. He's like, I don't be watching.
Yeah, he's like, I don't be watching his shit. And he's like, considering who was involved with the matches, I'm sure they were great, but it's the Okada show now, so...
Yeah. And they asked...
this motherfucker just said that he doesn't watch the title matches. You remember when wrestlers, when Bill Watts used to require the wrestlers to not go home, they had to stay and study the main event. This man Okada's like, fuck that, I'm going home. Okada works his undercard match and gets the fuck out of Dodge. He doesn't watch Shingo's matches.
Right. Also, they asked him, what are your plans for the IWGP title? And he's like, oh, I'm not going to reveal it, but I do have a request that I'm going to make if I win the match. I'm like, this man is going to, bring the title back, retcon the last 2 years, and, be the IWGP
Who knows
champion
what he's
again.
doing. Yeah, he's talking, bro. I told you he's got fuckboy energy last week. He's talking out both sides of his mouth because he was like, this isn't the world title. It just represents the contract. That's all it is. And they're like, but what if you win? What are you going to do? Well, I can't give that away for free. I mean, there's no intrigue in that. It's too soon. I'm like, but you just said it's not going to be bro, what the fuck? The funny thing too, Shingo came into the room and said some shit that was mad funny. He was like, this man wants to call himself IWGP champion. But if he cared so much about being I messed up. He wants to call himself the G1 champion. But if he cared so much about being represented as the G1 champion, wouldn't he carry the G1 trophy around? He's like, instead, he's carrying around the IWGP heavyweight title, a title that was literally retired and defunct, and it has nothing to do with the G1 in any shape or form. So why is he even bringing it out? I don't know what this even means.
Yeah.
And then later, Okada was like, listen, it's just a representation. When you win the G1, all they give you is some paper. They give you a paper. So I don't want to carry a paper. I want to, raise the prestige of the tournament. I'm going to carry this belt instead. And then they're like, but didn't that man say something about trophies? Like, never mind all that. This is to represent the paper. No, he was like, in sports, you don't carry a trophy around. He was like, you carry a belt or a medal around. And so I'm carrying this belt. Like, dude, just fucking say what you're doing. Stop being so fucking shady, dude.
Right.
God, Okada's making it hard for me to even like him. I wish he'd go back to wearing pants. Fuck him. There was one thing. I didn't say this last week, but I thought about this. If this was real sports, and this is boxing or MMA, and this man Shingo beat this man's ass twice in the same calendar year, Okada would never get another title shot until Shingo went G1 or not. G1's be damned. This man would never get another title shot because here a guy his ass handed to him twice, and at that point it's like he's got no shot. This man blew it twice already. So he's a gatekeeper of the stars until someone else comes along and wins that belt.
Yeah, he needs to go.
I don't know what.
He's going the back of the line along with Chase Owens.
But we had some questions here. Viking Pain said, with the Wrestle Kingdom 16 main events most likely to involve Okada, Shingo, and Ospreay in some sort of gold dash, who, in your opinion, should end up as world champion? But who do you think the company will crown as champion?
So personally, I would love for Shingo to leave all 3 nights as the undisputed world champion. You look at the year that he's had this year, and just being a consistent worker, great champion. Like, I think it would be a great thing to elevate him. But being that this is starting the 50th year, they really need to kickstart business. I can easily see it being Okada being the one that's the undisputed champion at the end of all this.
Yeah, those echo my exact sentiments. That's exactly how I feel about all of this. The only thing, there is one thing Shingo sort of mentioned during the press conference. He said, Wrestle Kingdom isn't just the start of a new year, but it's also the end of the previous year. And he was like, I'm the guy that's been headlining all the dome shows all year long. And, to really solidify myself, I need to beat this guy on the big stage in the big dome. And I agree with that. And I would love for that to happen.
Yeah, but for me, it's hard thinking that, Okada would eat a 3rd straight loss to Shingo.
Oh, I don't think it's going to at all. I think Okada is probably going to walk out as the guy. There is a chance it could be Ospreay, just because Ospreay's never really gotten that big definitive win over Okada. But it kind of feels like Okada is going to beat both of them, considering Wrestle Kingdom last year.
Yeah.
Japanese NJ fan said, also another question, do you guys have any fantasy bookings for the Dome on January 4th? If you guys do, let us please hear us. Keeping a strong style forever. You guys are the best.
Well, thank you, Red User Japanese NJ fan. I don't know if I have like a fantasy. I mean, I have an idea of what I think is going to happen. So I think, also, we have it official. January 4th is Okada Shingo. I think Okada is going to win that. I think this weekend at Battle in the Valley, there's going to be an angle where Shingo, Okada, and Ospreay all confront each other. I think Ospreay is going to say that he wants the winner on January 5th so they can solve who the real champion is. So Okada will beat Shingo on January 4th, and then it'll be Okada Ospreay January 5th, and Okada will beat Ospreay, and then he will keep his promise to Ibushi and challenge Ibushi for January 8th for the 3rd night of Wrestle Kingdom.
I guess that would kind of make sense. I don't really have strong feelings about the fantasy booking. It's a great question. I'm never good at these fantasy booking questions. The one thing that gives me pause, though, is the fact that there's 3 quote-unquote champions, and, I didn't quite expect them to maybe necessarily do the G1 winner against the world champion night 1. That kind of just amalgamates the 2 belts into one right off the bat, right?
Right.
You still got 2 more nights to fill. They could definitely do something like what you described. I'm not discounting that at all. And it's probably more likelihood. But there's a part of me that's wondering about, with everything that's going on with Rocky wrestling Danielson on Dynamite tomorrow evening. Probably by the time people listen to the show, they'll see that happening. And then, there's the reports of like Okada and Ishii are going over early before, kind of super early before they even need to be at Battle of the Valley. And then they're not coming back right away. And then you're hearing names like Punk dropped and Danielson dropped. And I'm like, with the travel restrictions being lifted, is there any chance? And I mean, I know I'm not trying to be that wishful thinking guy, but there's a part of me that's like the conspiracy theorist. It's like, maybe they are gearing up for some sort of special AEW interaction with New Japan that could play out on that 3rd or 2nd Wrestle Kingdom night,
Yeah, I did hear a crazy theory. So, AEW, they're going to have like their first TNT special next year. Like, right? It's rumored it's going to be like a Battle of the Belts. It's going to be the name of it. And I think it's set for January 8th. So what if they did an AEW New Japan show on January 8th and filmed that for the TNT special?
But that wouldn't make sense because the third night of Wrestle Kingdom is like a day or so before that.
Yeah, I guess that wouldn't. I guess depending on when that date, their official date would air, I don't know if it would work out. Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't know about that Battle of the Belts. You know where Battle of the Belts comes from, right?
Isn't that like a Crockett thing or a WCW thing?
It's a championship wrestling from Florida thing. There's a really good Barry Windham versus Ric Flair match from '86. Like 4 3/4, 5-star match. It does go to a double count out, but boy, is it fucking good. So yeah, I don't know. But that's all I got to say on that one. Hawaiian Punch BV did ask us. He said, was Shingo Takagi, Kazuchika Okada main eventing on January 4th. This is a huge win for Ultimo Dragon and the Dragon System. And yes and yes.
Yeah, long live the Dragon System.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. You think about Dragon Gate and Toryumon, the training that was given to both those guys and, the systems that they went through prior to New Japan. And I mean, yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no spinning it. MJ Does PR asked, they can't do 3 days to Wrestle Kingdom with this roster, can they? They've got to have some imports or a plan. Please tell us they have a plan.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're not the bookers, we're not in the room, but I mean, we have heard, obviously, with this being the 50th year, the company wants to do a lot of big things. They want to have a lot of big surprises. They are very hopeful for Wrestle Kingdom that they can get imports into the country and for some big matches. Don't know who that could possibly be. I know earlier in the year there was rumors of maybe Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. Also now that with Bryan Danielson out, there's rumors of him being there. So there's a ton of guys that would make sense to kind of come over. But I mean, also as we've seen with 2021, a lot of New Japan's plans have kind of gone up in the smoke due to COVID, injuries, people leaving the country. So who knows what they actually have planned right now, if it will actually work out.
Nice. Well, let's move on to the next subject here.
Yeah, so Tetsuya Naito at the same press conference, he made his return and announced that he would be returning for the World Tag League, which will be starting on November 14th. He announced that he would be teaming with Sonata. During the conference, Naito said that he injured his knee during his first match in the G1 against Zack Sabre Jr. back in September. This caused him to miss the rest of the tournament, officially scoring a 0-9 record. Naito said that while he was mentally preparing for torn ligaments in his knee that would have required surgery, instead there was in fact no ligament damage and would be able to return to the ring quickly. He also assured people that he was not rushing back to the ring.
Viking Pain asked, did Naito really injure his knee, or was it all an elaborate work to get this man a 2-month vacation and make CSJ look like a killer?
I mean, that is like the ultimate conspiracy theory being floated around.
I fucking love it if that's the case. Pro wrestling's a work, and if these motherfuckers worked all of us, kudos to them.
Right. I mean, especially like if they were going to do something like that, like this is like the perfect year to do it, because obviously they couldn't pack buildings for the G1. They were having, low, like half or low attendance anyway. So
they heard all of our listeners, writing in on their ballots Tetsuya Naito's name as the winner of the G1, and they're like, fuck all that noise.
Not today.
That's really funny. Rambo and Slam Pig said, why would they put Naito in the World Tag League coming back from an injury that took him out of the G1? I know they need to sell tickets, but wouldn't keeping him fresh for something at Wrestle Kingdom make more sense?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if it was me, I think guys like Naito and Tanahashi, who is in Tag League, I think both of those guys could obviously use some rest and get ready for Wrestle Kingdom. But at the same time, I do hear, the best thing for wrestling is to wrestle. And also, it's a tag league, and he's not going to have to go super hard. Obviously, I mean, him and Sonata will probably end up being one of the best teams in there, but I think he will be able to kind of rest in a tag scenario and not completely kill himself.
Come on, guys. It's the World Tag League. And it's not even the World Tag League in like 2018. It's the World Tag League in 2021. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I need to spell it out any more than that. And it's Tetsuya Naito. If you think this man isn't wrestling, how many nights are they going?
I'm not sure the full tour of this. I think it ends like December 15th. It
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you don't think that this man isn't wrestling 95% of those shows with a t-shirt on, then you're crazy. This man is gonna hardly tag in, and when he does, he's gonna do the safest shit that there possibly is. So yeah. Plus, think about it. What can he do at Wrestle Kingdom with no build between now and Wrestle Kingdom? He needs this World Tag League to build whatever it is he's doing, which I think is a dead giveaway for what me and Jeremy probably think is going to happen in this World Tag League.
Right. Well, speaking of World Tag League and Best of the Super Juniors, we had the teams and lineups revealed the last couple days. And
well, we had a question for PSA91.
Yeah, sorry, I was leading to PSA91.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry, asked, why do you think the participants and match lineups for Best of Super Junior and World Tag League weren't announced at the same time? I found it very strange that we got the full list of participants and match cards for Best of Super Junior first, but no news about World Tag League until the next day. Hence my original question of why no World Tag League news as of yet. Also, do you think a bigger deal should have been made about these announcements, given that they just seem to drop them on a random Monday and Tuesday at strange times in the day?
I don't know when they drop, to be honest, and I don't know how that relates to the domestic time over there. PSA91, you probably know better than we do as far as that goes. But
yeah, so the junior stuff was dropped on Monday, early Monday morning, our time, and they had the full lineup, the match cards, all that stuff. And then, yeah, it was a whole full day until they announced the World Tag League. Don't know if they were trying to finalize something, if they were trying to work on something, but yeah.
I mean, that's possible. Maybe they're finalizing something. Maybe they wanted to put emphasis on each individual group of talent and shows and everything like that separately to kind of, create double buzz. I don't know. We don't have those answers, but I don't think it's that strange, honestly.
Yeah. So let's talk about the lineups for both of these tournaments. So first, the Best of the Super Junior tournament, which will be kicking off at Corkin Hall this Saturday, and the finals will be at Sumo Hall on Wednesday, December 15th. Once again, it is a single block tournament. We got 12 participants, and obviously 2 wrestlers who gained the most points will be facing off in the finals. So for this year, we have the current reigning IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, El Dorado. We have Sho, Hiromu Takahashi, Yo, Master Wato, El Phantasmo, Risuke Taguchi, Robbie Eagles, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Taiji Ishimori, Bushi, and Doki.
Yeah, I mean, this group is we had gotten some inside intel from someone knowledgeable with the company as to who was going to be involved in this tournament probably a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so.
Yeah.
And, because we were kind of speculating some different options, some of the U.S. talent guys, maybe they could come over, maybe Dragon Lee. And we were kind of told, nope, this is who it is. And it ended up being exactly who we were told it was going to be. So, I guess that's good. Our sources are credible, even though we didn't want them to be. But, it's kind of unfortunate. In the past, we've done full presentation episodes. I mean, we've already gone around 2 hours at this point on the show. And, it's not like we're doing letter grades. We're doing percentages of who's going to win or whatever. But, my quick thoughts on it are there's a lot of talent here, but there's not a lot that really excites me. I think for the most part, we've seen all these guys in this same tournament. Is this the exact same lineup almost as last year?
No, Phantasmo was not in it last year, and I don't think that Kanemaru was in it last year. I think he was hurt.
That's fine, but we've seen them both in Super Juniors in the past, so it's not anything new. I think we may be getting some. We don't have Sam's on the line, so I couldn't tell you how many first time matches are actually happening, but I bet you there's very few of them.
Right.
But overall, I mean, you got quite a few ex-champions, mostly domestic talent. Show and Yo will be facing off again in this tournament, which is that's a big storyline to kind of keep an eye on. Desperado's coming in as champion, which means the likelihood of him winning as champion is extremely low. You got the most recent former champions in Hiromu and Eagles coming into the tournament and being favorites, I would assume. Plus, they're facing off against one another on the final night, which, we don't usually like to be those guys who are just looking at the final night and kind of trying to, figure out what that means. But I think that's very telling as to what the finals might look like. That's probably like a deciding match for one of those two guys to go into the final, essentially.
Right. That was kind of something I was saying last week. I was like, I think, with Despy winning, we're going to get an Eagles Hiromu finals, and then Hiromu's going to win, and you get Hiromu Despy at Wrestle Kingdom.
The only thing with that, and I'm just now realizing, though, is, let me see here. So, okay. Because I thought we have all the nights listed here, right?
No, I just have the first two nights, which will be happening before the next Keeping It Strong Style.
They're facing off on the final night, but whoever has the most points at the end of the tournament is going to end up facing off in a final after that, right?
Right.
So, I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be likely that Eagles and Hiromu face off on the final night against one another and then still end up in the finals against each other.
Right.
So that might actually throw a wrench in what we might have been thinking previously. So my guess is someone like Hiromu, and basically Hiromu and Eagles will be two of the top leaders going into the final night. One of them will beat the other one. I'm guessing Hiromu is probably going to knock Eagles out on that evening and go on to face someone like El Phantasmo or Show in the finals.
Yeah, I could definitely see Show also winning the Never Six Man and being, this new heel turn and House of Torture that can definitely do him facing off Hiromu on the 15th.
But for me, just to kind of make it simple, Hiromu Desperado, they've been an ongoing generational rivalry. They faced off against one another in probably what's going to be one of the leading candidates for Junior Match of the Year last year at the close of the Super Juniors. And they haven't faced off for the gold with Desperado at the helm as champion. And you got to figure the winner of this tournament goes on to face the champion at Wrestle Kingdom this year, just like last year. Desperado being the champion, the most attractive matchup on paper, and as far as like money goes, it's got to be him and Hiromu. So I'm just gonna take a wild stab and say Hiromu's probably winning this thing.
Yeah, and I was looking at that final block to see who else. I mean, Phantasmo and Despy are facing off that night, so that could potentially be one that's facing Hiromu and Eagles.
That seems like the likelihood. It seems like to me, Phantasmo beats Desperado, and then Hiromu beats Eagles, and we've got 3 nights to fill. And what if potentially Hiromu wins the tournament, right?
Right.
And he's going to get it, but they've got to fill 2 or 3 nights. So what if Hiromu's going to fight Desperado, but before he fights Desperado, ELP's going to finagle his way into a title shot because even though he didn't win the tournament, he has a pinfall victory over Despy.
Yeah, I mean that could easily be what they do.
That's just what I'm thinking. I mean, I don't know. You have any theories here? I mean, are we in agreement? We both think Hiromu's winning this thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think it makes the most sense. He's the biggest star. He needs to be in a big match, Wrestle Kingdom.
And we're gonna take your guys' questions as time goes on. I'm sure there's going to be some interest in the Super Juniors. I mean, are there any big money matches that you're looking at, or any anything in particular that kind of stands out to you? Anything you're looking forward to?
I mean, Sho and Yo is obviously going to be a big match with the recent breakup and turn and the angle of that power struggle. I think that's going to be a match to circle. Also, Hiromu Despy, they're going to face off. Also, the big rematch from the match they had last year, I think will be something to look out for. I mean, Doki, just looking out for Doki. Also, he's not going back to the Indies of Mexico, and he's going to kill himself. So I think whoever he faces is going to be great. Doki and Hiromu, their match last year was great. So that's going to be probably his best match to look out for.
ELP versus Ishimori. I don't know if they've wrestled one-on-one as both Bullet Club members before. That kind of seems intriguing to me.
Yeah, that could be fun. Also, Eagles and Phantasmo, there's obviously history there. Eagles and Taiji, there's history there as well. So those could be interesting.
Yeah, but there's not really too much here that really stands out to me. It's like, oh man, I've got to see this or that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think a lot of people will be watching Desperado just because he's champion, and his matches, interactions are going to tell us a lot about the outcome of the tournament. So, it's a single block tournament. We have night 1 and night 2 pulled up. Do you want to go through this or no?
Yeah, we can just go through. I don't know if we need to make predictions, but we can just say the lineup.
So we got on night 1, which is November the 13th, Bushi versus Doki, Ishimori versus Kanemaru, Taguchi versus Eagles, Phantasmo versus Wato, Hiromu versus Yo, and Desperado versus Sho in the main event. That's kind of interesting. First night, big upsets usually. So Despy Sho headlining, that's a good one. And then Oiwa versus Nakashima is going to be the Young Lion match opening. The next night, we have Fujita versus Oiwa opening, Doki versus Yo, Taguchi versus Bushi, Eagles versus Wato, Kanemaru versus Phantasmo, Hiromu Takahashi versus Sho, and then Ishimori versus Desperado. And again, it looks like Desperado is going to be doing a lot more headlining this year versus the way it was last year, where we were very Hiromu heavy almost the whole tournament.
Right, and that's another part of my reasoning of why I thought he was going to win. I didn't think they were going to put Eagles in a lot of these main events, and so having Despy there makes a ton of sense, and especially with the popularity he got from the tournament last year, I think he'll be a big drawing card this year.
Awesome. Well, moving on, New Japan has announced the teams for this year's World Tag League, which will be taking place concurrently with the Best Super Juniors. The full list of teams is as follows. We have Tanahashi and Yano teaming up, Great Bash Heel, Togi Makabe and Tomoaki Hanma, Ten Cozy, Yuji Nagata and Tiger Mask, Team Olds on top, Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi of Chaos, Tetsuya Naito and Sonata from LIJ, the Dangerous Techers, Minoru Suzuki, and the return of Taka Michinoku.
Seba time.
So, Suzuki-gun team, Great Okan and Aaron Hanare, not Jeff Cobb of United Empire, the Gorillas of Destiny, Evil and Yujiro Takahashi of the House of Torture subunit, and finally, Bad Luck Fale making his return, teaming along Chase Owens for the Bullet Club.
Yeah, I mean, again, not an inspiring lineup here. I mean, they did the best that they could with not being able to bring anybody into the country. I mean, you can see they had to kind of force some things here. I mean, Tiger Mask as a junior in a heavyweight tag team tournament and sticking him with Nagata. And it's reported Tiger Mask was originally supposed to be, available as an alternate for the Super Juniors, but they had nobody else. They had to be here with Nagata. There's rumors that Ibushi was supposed to be Nagata's partner in this tournament. And then bringing back Taka Michinoku, which there's also reports that there is some in the locker room not happy with the return of Taka. And this is a Dick Togo influence. Dick Togo has been lobbying for a Taka return to the company this year, and he finally got his wish. So Taka back in the fold here, teaming with Suzuki, and the plans are he's not, as of right now, not booked for anything after this tournament, but we'll see what happens.
There's a lot of guys in that locker room that have committed infidelity. Several of them are coaches, trainers, veterans within the company. I mean, come on. I don't know. I don't want to speak too much to the politics, but I mean, it's not like you should end a guy's career. I don't know. It's a different culture, so who knows? But Yeah, I mean, some interesting things here, like we talked about. Aaron Henare against Great O'Khan as opposed to Jeff Cobb. That's interesting, because all year O'Khan and Cobb have been a very, very dominating tag team.
Yeah.
Minoru Suzuki sort of making his return to the tournament. He's kind of one of those major singles stars that may or may not kind of warrant presence in this type of tournament. He's always kind of in it, but it's sort of like, I didn't necessarily expect him to be in it. But Tetsuya Naito kind of making his return to the tournament. Team with Sonata, I know that they were tag champions this year, but that sort of seemed like a short-lived thing. And instead, we're getting, a continuation of that team. Very interesting. Like you mentioned, the Tiger Mask thing. And then Tanahashi teaming with Toru Yano. That's, a Hantai group member teaming with Chaos member. Two guys that haven't even always gotten along necessarily. So that's sort of a strange, can they coexist sort of pairing.
Right. And I feel also, normally Tomohiro Ishii would probably be teaming with Yano, but Ishii's going to be in the States. He's going to be on Battle in the Valley. He has a couple indie dates already booked for the month of November as well.
Yeah, and Tanahashi is one of those guys. Like, we've seen him in the tournament in the past, but we've also seen him not be in the tournament, along with Naito, along with Suzuki. So there's some inclusion of some major players here that, there was a time where all the major top stars were in this tournament, but past 4 or 5 years, it hasn't been that way. It's been mostly just predominantly tag teams. So, some interesting things here. My thinking, and I'll just shoot from the hip, I think Naito and Sonata are going to win. And the main reason why is because Naito doesn't have like a world title shot on deck. He doesn't have anything necessarily going for him as far as like singles feuds or major title matches, major grudge matches. They could, obviously anything could change between now and these 3 Wrestle Kingdom shows. But as of right now, it just sort of seems like it would make all the sense in the world for him and Sonata to win. The guy who, quote unquote, eliminated him from the tournament, Zack Sabre Jr., he's one half of the reigning IWGP Tag Team Champions. So there's sort of a revenge angle there, and there's heat. Naito and Sonata are stars. We've seen times when they match up 2 guys that are both upper mid-card / star type level guys do really well in this tournament. And I just don't see Naito and Sonata eating too many losses from the likes of Tenkozy or Nagata Tiger Mask. So my feeling is they're going to win this tournament. They're going to go on and face the Dangerous Tekkers in the Dome. I think it's – plus they've already had a history of matches with one another and have had great matches. So, why not run it back?
Yeah, so very interesting on the last night for them. So Sonata and Naito, they're facing off against Evil and Yujiro. So obviously a little rivalry renewed there. GOD and United Empire facing off in the last night. And Tekkers are facing off against Yoshihashi and Goto.
Which that's another strong team who always does well in these types of tournaments.
And they were in the 3-way at Grand Slam.
Yeah, and GOD obviously is a strong team, and you've got to imagine Okada and Hanari are going to be booked pretty strong as well. And I bet you Evil and Yujiro probably will be to some extent too. So I know Yujiro's there, and he could probably be Evil's pinfall eater, but I don't see them being as unlucky as Evil's team was, say, last year. So I think that those are probably the 6 teams you got to look out for anyways.
Right. So I think any combination of those could get to the finals, but also I do think Sonata and Naito are going to find themselves in the finals against some team. I don't know what would make the most sense. Maybe Goto and Yoshihashi run that back, and then Wrestle Kingdom you do Naito and Sonata against Dangerous Tekkers.
So November, and so we're pretty much in agreement. That's what's happening.
Yes.
November 14th, night 1 of World Tag League, Fujita versus Nakashima singles action to open. Then we have the Dangerous Tekkers against Suzuki-gun, Tiger Mask and Nagata against Tenkoji, Gorillas of Destiny against Great Bash Heel, the Bullet Club team of Fale and Owens against United Empire, Tanahashi and Yano against House of Torture, and then Chaos team of Goto and Yoshihashi against LIJ in the main event. We had some questions here. Less Commission 7252 said, with both of the best of the Super Juniors and World Tag League lineups out, which field looks more interesting? I believe that the World Tag League is superior with the 5 new pairings debuting in this league, having Fale back and more importantly Taka. This could be the best tag league I've seen in years.
I don't know about the best tag league in years. Also, we've watched the last 5 World Tag Leagues for Keeping It Strong Style. And we've seen some stronger lineups. You know, I would definitely welcome back a War Machine and teams like that.
Yeah, I appreciate your enthusiasm. I don't really share in that. I mean, just across the board, I'm always going to prefer Super Juniors over World Tag League lineup, even though I do agree this isn't the most inspired Super Juniors lineup. I'll take it any day over Taka and Fale.
Yeah, I would definitely take the Super Junior lineup. I just think that we're probably, match quality wise, we're probably going to get better matches from that tournament, even though I am curious to see the interactions between Sabre and Taka now that he is back in the fold here.
Dom Homie 101 said, thoughts on this year's lineup of both the best of Super Juniors and Tag League. Which lineup is better? Which tournament are you looking forward to? What matches are you guys looking forward to?
So I think we kind of gave our thoughts on the lineup, and we think that the Super Junior is probably going to end up being better than the World Tag League.
Let's do this. Top match that you're most excited for in the Super Juniors right now?
Hiromu Despi.
I gotta say, for me, Shoyo. Just because, you know, I don't know what to expect there, but there's heat, so, you know, there's something to sink my teeth into. For Tag League, is there one match that stands out as something that you're excited for?
LIJ versus Tekkers.
That's a great pick. I think for me, I'm gonna say Tekkers against Suzuki and Taka. People kind of forget how good of a wrestler Taka can be, and every year for some reason, the Dangerous Tekkers against Minoru Suzuki and Friends match always seems to deliver on a super high level. And it has for 2 years straight. And I think that they're going to continue that. And it always ends up being like the highlight of the Tag League.
Yeah. So, yeah, it definitely should be a fun match. And definitely some interesting interactions with Taka and Sabre and Taichi.
Pussy Destroyer 83619 said, P.S. I couldn't care less about World Tag League. Amen, brother. PSS, do you think World Tag League should just be scrapped? If New Japan adds both junior and heavyweight tag scenes together, it's still a joke. Oh no, I can't sign on that.
Yeah, I don't think the World Tag League should be scrapped at all. I think it has its place and its purpose. Obviously, it's a lot better when you can actually get some outside teams in. You got to think, if there was no pandemic, we'd be getting Aussie Open. We'd be getting some teams from Strong. We'd be getting West Coast Wrecking Crew, Team Filthy, Dickinson and Brody King, Violence Unlimited. Like, we would be seeing, like, this tournament would probably be pretty exciting if there was no pandemic and people had visas and were able to get them over in time.
Well, that's going to do it for that. We've got Battle of the Valley coming up this Saturday, November the 13th, and we've got a lineup for the show. We're going to have to go through this one quick because we're bumping up on time, but let's do a quick preview here. Opening this show, we got Josh Alexander versus Yuya Uemura. I think we're both looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I would say I would go with Josh Alexander winning just because he was recently just the former world champion.
I agree, and I think that that's one to really pay attention to. On the same card, we have the new TNA World Champion, or Impact World Champion, and Moose taking on Juice Robinson. Special singles match. Does Moose show up with the title?
I think he will. I mean, we've been seeing heavy partnership influence with New Japan and Impact as late. I mean, a ton of storylines kind of crossing over to this show. So I think that Moose is going to get the win since he's a champ.
I'm going to say there's some sort of non-finish here in classic territory style booking that will lead to, because I think Moose is defending the title against Josh Alexander pretty soon, right?
I'm not sure about that.
I don't know.
I think there's a contenders match this week, actually. That's like Eddie Edwards Ryder and somebody.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's who cares? It's Impact. So, Violence Unlimited team of Brody King and Chris Dickinson will be taking on the Stray Dog Army, Bateman and Mysterioso, tag team action. I think I'm going to go with Violence Unlimited here, but I don't know. It could go either way.
I'm going with Violence Unlimited. They're pushed very heavily. Stray Dog Army, they really haven't done much yet since they've been a unit.
Bateman and Mysterioso are good. This match could be pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially Brody King and Bateman had that really good singles match during the tournament earlier this year.
Yeah.
After that, we got Coughlin, Zane, Dave Finley, Fred Rosser, Rocky Romero, 10-man tag team action taking on Team Filthy, Limelight, Jarrell Nelson, JR Kratos, Isaacs, and Lawler. And this one should be pretty good.
Yeah, this is a preview for the Strong Openweight title match that will be happening at the Detonation Tour that's happening after Battle in the Valley. They've been building a roster up every week on Strong. They beat Team Filthy last week, him and Rocky. So it will be a very heated matchup. I'm a little disappointed that they're not doing a Strong title match again on a U.S. New Japan pay-per-view, but
I got a theory that maybe the Strong title is just defended at this point on Strong.
Right. It's like the TV title, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, should be a fun match going with the roster team.
That would make sense, but at this point, the last time they did a preview like this on the big show, did Leo Rush's team win? I can't even remember.
I believe they did, yeah.
They wouldn't necessarily need to win. I mean, as long as they do some sort of angle to keep the roster Lawler.
Yeah, you're right. And actually, yeah, Coughlin's on that babyface side. He's still a young lion, so yeah, Coughlin's probably eating the pin here. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if Coughlin eats the loss, but they keep Fred Rosser looking strong and Lawler looking, kind of threatened at the end of the match.
Yeah, those guys are kind of brawling towards the end.
That's what I'm thinking. Next match, we have tag team action as Clark Connors and Carl Fredericks. They take on the team of the United Empire, Jeff Cobb and TJP.
So a continuation here of the LA Dojo United Empire feud that's been started ever since Ospreay had arrived at Resurgence. These two units have been facing off several times now. Narita and Connors got a big win over Ospreay and TJP on Strong. But I still feel like this has been very heavily United Empire winning. TJP and Ospreay did beat Connors and Fredericks in Dallas. But, I mean, it's Jeff Cobb. He just came off that monstrous G1. I think Cobb and TJP are going to get the win here.
I think they, are the likely favorites, especially considering all the stuff you mentioned. But, it's not like TJP super protected and couldn't eat a Manifest Destiny if need be,
Right, yeah. TJP, he was pinned by Narita last week, so Connors and Fredericks could easily pin him as well.
I'm going to agree with you and say the United Empire, but I don't know if that's the best booking decision in the sense that Connors and Fredericks need to be made to look a little bit stronger, maybe throw them a little bone on a show like this, but you're probably right. It's probably going to be United Empire. Next match of the night, special singles match as the real world's champion, Will Ospreay, takes on our boy, Ren Narita.
Yeah, good stuff here. Ren Narita cutting a post-match promo from Strong saying, Ospreay, I don't want your fake title. Like you had to vacate that. That's not real. I'm going to beat you and give that belt back because you're not a real champion. I just want to focus on beating you. So a lot of good stuff here with LA Dojo again, United Empire, and Narita kind of being the flag bearer for the LA Dojo here. These guys had a great match, Best Super Junior 2019. I think this will be a great matchup as well, but obviously I'm going with Ospreay with the win here.
I'm going with Ospreay as well, but I'm so excited for this and I cannot wait. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Semi-main event, we have a special singles match as the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada takes on no longer a secret, Buddy Matthews, fresh off of his free agency from WWE.
Fresh out of prison.
And we have a lot of questions here, so let's just jump into those. Viking Pain said, with Buddy Murphy getting such a high-profile match with Okada, do you think this could be a sign that he's going to New Japan?
Well, I mean, I think with him just speaking on the show, it's a sign that he's going to New Japan. They did a vignette for him on Strong this week. He's getting this big match with Okada. It seems like they have big plans for Buddy here in the future.
Yeah, I've made jokes in the past on this show and in private about Buddy Matthews being a 205 guy, but he's anything but that. And, he's a special talent. I mean, this guy is really, really, really top level. I don't know how WWE dropped the ball with him, but that seems to be the story with them and pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
And this match should be incredible. I would love to see him continue to work with New Japan in some capacity. Hawaiian Punch BB said, is Buddy Matthews going to steal Jeff Cobb's gimmick of stealing finishers? I mean, he already stole the Kamigoye.
Well, I mean, Buddy's pretty much been cosplaying Kenny Omega, throwing V-triggers, doing, a lot of Kenny's moves, Ibushi's moves, and so...
That's all fine. I didn't like when he hit the big boot and the leg drop, though. That's been my one gripe with him.
When did he do that?
No, I'm just playing. He never did that. But, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, cosplay wrestler.
I mean, essentially, this is like the next Omega Okada right here.
Yeah, this is number 5. This is what we were going to get in Madison Square Garden. Dom Homie 101 said, thoughts on Buddy Matthews on facing the greatest talent in this modern era, the Rainmaker?
I mean, it's a great opportunity, a great platform. I mean, Buddy Matthews has a lot to prove. He's going to have a chip on his shoulder. He's going to show, WWE, the talent they squandered. I think it's going to be a big statement for him here. A performance here could get him a long-term deal with New Japan. We could see him, in G1s and getting some more title opportunities. So definitely a big, big moment here for him.
MJ Does PR says Buddy Matthews is getting a big time spot versus Okada. What do you think this means for his future role on the roster?
Again, yeah, just another great opportunity, I think, for a future role. I mean, he's a guy that's going to be positioned, I think, very highly on the card, especially on Strong. I think they're going to try and utilize that WWE name and experience to help, draw and bring eyes to Strong. And again, he's going to be somebody that could be plugged into a G1, U.S. title contender, never title contender. He's going to be slotted pretty high, it seems like.
The one thing Buddy Matthews has never shown himself to be, completely strong in is promoing. But, hey, it's New Japan Pro Wrestling. You don't need to be a strong promo, especially if you're a foreign speaker. And the things that you do need to be good at, your look, your intensity, your realism, your athleticism, your gas tank, your ability to wrestle. And this guy's got it in strides. And it is telling you a big thing in the fact that they entrusted him to wrestle on a big U.S. show on pay-per-view against the ace of the company, who's about to literally go wrestle, in the Tokyo Dome in short order. So, I mean, yeah, I think it means that they've got big, bright future plans for this guy within the company. And, there's a reason it's not someone like Leo Rush and Tom Lawler or Chris Dickinson. Those guys are great, but I mean, take that for what it means to you. As great as those guys are, they're not the ones who are getting it in this position. It's Buddy Matthews, night one, getting it. So someone likes him somewhere,
Right.
Main event, never open weight title match, with the stipulation: if Ishii loses, he can never challenge for the never title ever again. We got the champion Jay White defending against Tomohiro Ishii.
Yeah, very interesting main event. We saw this angle build from the Resurgence show in August, and then they followed the angle up with the Strong tapings the next day. And seen several promos from both of these guys. And I mean, this is a main event that could literally is 50-50. I don't feel strong in either way. I do think it would be a tragedy if Ishii could never challenge for the never title again. I mean, that title's been synonymous with him for majority of his career. I think I'm going to ride with Ishii on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. When I think about Wrestle Kingdom and I think about Jay White rolling into Wrestle Kingdom, and I am feeling very confident he's going to be involved with Wrestle Kingdom in some form or fashion. And when I think about what he would do at Wrestle Kingdom with that title, there are possibilities, but part of me feels like he might somehow get wrapped up in the three-way title picture somehow,
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a good look, carrying that never title there. So if Ishii beats him, especially if it's under some sort of like, let's say Ishii doesn't do anything to cheat, but let's say someone just somehow interferes in the match, which seems like it might be possible or inevitable. I wouldn't be surprised if there's something that ends up maybe popping off between Jay White and Ospreay on this show in some way.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be
something that could happen. I mean, but we've also seen plenty of times guys lose up, especially from a never seen. We've seen guys drop the never belt one night and then become, IC or world title challengers the next night.
The only thing that gives me pause is the fact that, that there's not a lot of time to build something between now and then. So it might rely on some creativity, either on the US shows or social media or videos or press conferences, something like that. Cause obviously he's not on World Tag League or anything like that. So we'll see what happens. But I think if he loses, like you mentioned, he might lose up. And I mean, I just can't imagine Ishii never being able to challenge for the never title again. But if they do, hats off to them. He had some amazing runs with the belt, and that's a pretty compelling storyline either way. So yeah,
and I could definitely see Ishii defending the never title on Dynamite.
Ishii and Jay White have knocked out of the park so many times against one another, so this match is going to be great. Plus, we've already seen the kind of drawing power that Jay White has in California with a particular type of fan base. So I'm sure this is going to be that's the one thing I'm wondering about. Are we going to see a heavily pro Jay White crowd that's anti Ishii? Is it going to be Bizarro World, Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see.
But, this show is running literally at 11 o'clock Eastern time. So that'll be, what time? Oh, it's 11 Eastern for us. Yeah.
Right.
So that's what, 7, 8.
I think that's 8 Pacific.
8 p.m. Pacific. Yeah. So it's going to be starting just as the AEW pay-per-view ends. So, I mean, for you rascals that are going to watch both back to back, hats off to you.
Right. And remember, English will be on Fight TV live, and then English will be on demand on New Japan World, but it will be Japanese commentary live on NJPW World.
I don't know if I'd pay for that Fight pay-per-view after all the bad reports last time.
Yeah, it's up to you if you want to risk it, but
NJPW Strong ran this past weekend, November 6th, 8 p.m. Eastern. We had 3 matches of action.
Yep, so this was the first night of the Showdown Tour in the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, the ECW Arena. Show opened up. We had Team Filthy of Jarrell Nelson, JR Kratos, and Royce Isaacs, and Dane Limelight joined commentary, and the Team Filthy team, they defeated Alex Coughlin, David Finlay, and Yuya Uemura. This was a fun opener 6-man match. There was a lot of great power spots between JR Kratos and Alex Coughlin. The match built to Coughlin finally being able to hit a big scoop slam on JR Kratos, but the Team Filthy team is a more concise unit. They're more familiar with each other. They're able to use their teamwork to beat the Hantai team here of Coughlin, Finlay, and Uemura. Then the second matchup, we had the flamboyant Juice Robinson. He defeated El Phantasmo. Match was good. There was a couple miscommunications here between Juice and ELP. It looks like there was the ring might have been a little bit slippery at some point too. There's a couple spots that were kind of blown and missed, but overall fine match up here. Juice gets the win, and post-match he calls out Moose for Battle in the Valley, which we just talked about. And then the big main event here was Clark Connors and Ren Narita of the LA Dojo defeating the United Empire team of TJP and Will Ospreay. Very good, hard-hitting match here. Ospreay had a bullseye on his back, and Narita was just constantly on him throughout this match. Narita ends up getting the win. Hits the Narita special number 4, which is that overheaded belly to belly on TJP. Post-match, they put a beat down on Connors and Narita, but then Ospreay goes for the hidden blade. Narita plays possum, gets back up, gives a big boot to the face of Ospreay, and then sits in the ring in the Shibata cross-leg pose. And like I mentioned in his comments earlier, calling Ospreay's title's fake, wants no part of his title, just wants to beat Ospreay come Battle in the Valley. And of course, Ospreay firing back, calling him a Shibata wannabe and still a young boy.
Awesome. Well, this coming Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, we've got NJPW Strong. This will be the second of 3 New Japan shows on that same day.
Yeah.
We've got 4 matches of action. We have 205 Live legend Arya Daivari taking on Alex Zane in singles action. Tag team action as Tom Lawler and Danny Limelight take on the team of Fred Rosser and Rocky Romero. Semi-main event, Jay White will be fighting Fred Yehai. So he's pulling double duty that day.
Yeah.
Fighting Yehai and then fighting Ishii. That's 2 tough customers. that really lends me to believe Ishii's going to win even more, actually.
Yeah.
Then the main event, we've got grudge match as Minoru Suzuki wrestles 1-on-1 with Chris Dickinson. We've heard great things about this match, and very excited to see that one play out. There's also a little bit of intrigue this week as NJPW Extra came out, the second episode. If you haven't seen this, kind of like a recap show that Chris Charlton's doing on YouTube on the official NJPW US YouTube channel. And along with that show this week, they released a special singles match from the recent Strong tapings as Will Ospreay took on Alex Zane, the recently released Alex Zane, in singles match action, 11 minutes, 14 seconds. And I just watched this match right before we got on the air, and I got to tell you, I was not impressed.
Yeah, I watched it also earlier this afternoon before we recorded, and yeah, I mean, I thought it was a fun matchup, but obviously with both those names involved, you would think it'd be better of a matchup. Like you mentioned in the group chat, I think it just showed that Alex Zane is just not on Will Ospreay's level, just what the caliber of wrestler that Ospreay is.
I think Alex Zane is very, very good, and he can do all the things he was trying to do in the match. He can do, but doing them at the speed and proficiency that Will does them at that pace of the match, he couldn't keep up. And it's interesting because he's been wrestling for quite a bit longer than Will Ospreay has, and they even mentioned that during the commentary. Also, the commentary was terrible. This Matt Morris, Kozlov team is not good.
Yeah.
But I also am critical of just the fact that they even uploaded a match like this onto Extra. I don't see the point of uploading a match that you've barely advertised on YouTube as like almost like a hidden Easter egg, like instead of just putting it on Strong. I mean, I'm sure the YouTube subs are not going to equate to what maybe a New Japan World sub would have been for a big match on Strong. I don't know. Just seems weird. The weird part is like, I don't even think it would equate to anything extra on either, but at least for the fans that really love New Japan, they know to watch it on Strong. But like, who the fuck knows to go to YouTube and watch it on Extra number 2?
Right.
It's like hidden.
Right.
Like if you hadn't sent it to me, I wouldn't even have known about this.
Like I don't know how many fans even know about. Also, we talked about it, but the general fan base, I don't know if they even know about NJPW Extra or even watching it. So,
well, the match is it's kind of like one of those weird things where it's like you'd be surprised it even happened. So it's worth checking out in that respect. I went like 3 1/4 on it. 11 minutes. They probably could have a much, much better match considering the talent involved, but it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
We've got news items here. Jay White had an interview with Sean Ross Sapp.
Yeah, so this interview happened. It happened over the weekend, but it came out today on YouTube, and Jay obviously hyping up the Battle in the Valley match with Ishii. I have not watched the full interview, but I know kind of the big talking points. Sean Ross Sapp asked him about AEW, WWE, and then his whole contract situation, and he expressed that he has never talked to anybody in AEW. He expressed that there was interest from WWE and that he never signed a long-term contract with New Japan. And then reports came out that he was working in this interview and was trying to work over Sean Ross Sapp, and not everything he was saying was true.
Yeah, so I don't really know what to say about all that. When Jay White's whole contract situation came up last January, we talked about it extensively. whether it was a work or not a work, or Sean Ross Sapp's getting worked, or we're getting worked, or Dave's getting worked, or the management at AEW got work. I don't know. I really don't know. Something doesn't seem to add up. So I don't know. I don't give a fuck. The one thing I will tell you is they squandered whatever goodwill and opportunity they had during that 1 to 2 month period where Jay White was literally the hottest, quote unquote, maybe free agent in the sport. So I don't even feel like really spending a lot of time thinking about that, because I'm like, you guys fucked it up anyways.
Right.
But I will listen to that. I'm interested in listening to that interview, so maybe I'll play it tomorrow during work on X2 Speed, because that's what I listen to, YouTube videos on.
Man, the first podcast, now the YouTube videos.
I do that on YouTube videos. I'm not actively watching. I'm just listening. On podcasts, I'm at like 2.5 now.
Damn, I'm like a smooth. I like the 1.5. I don't like going above the 1.5.
I got too much shit to consume. Kazuchika Okada is on the ballot for the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame. Yeah. He's probably going in first ballot Hall of Fame with the majority of the vote.
Yeah, if you have a ballot and you don't vote for Okada, something's wrong with you, man.
Monday's free match of the week: Hiromu Takahashi versus El Desperado, 2020 Best Super Junior Finals. Great match. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Will Ospreay versus Shota Umino was announced for the British Heavyweight Championship. It is official at RevPro Uprising, November 21st. So, before Wrestle Kingdom and all that, Ospreay's got a big hurdle in, Red Shoes boy, Shota Umino.
Yeah, and Umino did cut a little promo on Ospreay. He's back in Japan right now, sent in a video to RevPro, and the end was hilarious. He was like, Ospreay, you are fucked.
The Impact, we got a little bit of Impact news here. The Good Brothers defended their Impact Tag Team titles against FinJuice. The match went to a no contest. Afterwards, ELP, Chris Bay, and Hikuleo attacked all four of them. So, looks like the Bullet Club is not happy with the Good Brothers or FinJuice, and they're coming for those belts.
Yeah.
Also, Minoru Suzuki made his Impact debut, teaming with Moose and W. Morrissey as they defeated the team of Josh Alexander, Matt Cardona, and Eddie Edwards. What a fucking weird year we are in.
Does this make Moose and Morrissey part of Suzuki-gun?
This is the strangest timeline.
But yeah, this match is setting up a Josh Alexander Suzuki singles match on Impact. I don't know if it's next week or 2 weeks, but that match is coming.
That sounds awesome. So let's kick it to the last bit of questions we have here and get the hell out of here. So I'm going to leave it to you, Jeremy, if you want to kick those questions over.
Yep. So Viking Pain says, what do we have to do to get Keith Lee to New Japan? So Keith Lee, one of the 18 wrestlers released from WWE last week.
I don't know. Pay him more money than AEW, give him all sorts of special perks. I don't really know. He'll probably go to AEW.
Yeah, I mean, AEW probably makes the most sense. I would obviously love another Keith Lee Ishii match, but we'll see what happens. Hawaiian Punch BV says, what do you think of the most recent WWE releases, and who would you like to see compete in New Japan? I think the future matchups of Mascara Dorada versus TJP can be great, and it was the actual CWC finals, unlike Ibushi versus CSJ. Keith Lee and Biff Busick would be nice too.
Yeah, I would like to see all three of those guys compete in New Japan. Mascara Dorada was here in the past, and I mean, people kind of forget just how incredible he is. Again, I know people don't want to hear this. It sounds like they might all just go to, AEW or do some indies. I think first we need to get the, travel restrictions lifted and guys able to go back and forth. But I would love to.
I mean, Keith Lee, I think it's a lock for AEW, but I could see Mascara Dorada being a part of Strong. I could see Lindsay Dorado, Biff Busick. I could see guys like that going to New Japan Strong first.
Possibly, yeah. The only thing with Mascara Dorada is it seems like AEW is making the wise play of getting a lot of luchadors and unique and fantastic ones, and if they ever want to go to Mexico and partner with AAA guys like that, I mean Mascara Dorada is a great guy to have, so I wouldn't be surprised if they make a play for him.
Yeah. How would you feel about Killer Cross in New Japan?
I'd be fine with it. Honestly, I was pretty impressed with what I've seen of him before the NXT run. I know a lot of what happened in NXT and a lot of what happened in the main roster was uninspiring. But I mean, the guy has a presence and he's got an incredibly legit background. And I liked what I saw of him on the Indies and on some of those Bloodsport shows prior to joining WWE. So under the right circumstances, I'd be fine with it, but kind of depends on how they presented him, how they slotted him, who they matched him up with, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't always been the big fan of Killer Cross, but I definitely think he does have a presence to him and could definitely be a name to look out for. I think another name that could be interesting is Harry Smith. I think bringing him back into the New Japan fold.
Not bringing Davey Boy back.
I mean, why not?
Because he was disparaging Gato in the press. No.
And all besides that, maybe Trey Baxter can come back, the former Blake Christian.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. So then next question here. He asked, did you check out UFC 268? Chandler vs. Gaethje was crazy.
Watched the show. Loved the show. Watched both major combat sports shows simultaneously at one point. And yes, Chandler versus Gaethje, crazy fucking fight. Greatly outperformed my expectations. And, I predicted Gaethje winning, but man, Chandler fucking brought it to him. I thought Chandler was going to get him out of there early. So I was like, oh God, I was wrong again. But, Gaethje gutted it out. These guys are fucking animals.
Yeah, I missed UFC 268, but I did see the highlights and clips from this Chandler Gaethje match, and it looks like it was a absolute war.
This is one of those fights where those clips and stuff show you some of it, but they don't do it justice. It was an all-out action fight. It's probably fight of the year type of contender right now. I'd recommend, if you didn't see the whole fight, at least go out of your way to find that one. It's only 3 rounds anyways.
Yeah, I'll definitely find that. Dark Soldier says, recently on Twitter, Orange Cassidy simply put a tweet saying, Chaos. Should Chaos allow Orange membership? Is he too dangerous for the team? Would Okada bring him in and fix his past failures as a leader?
I mean, I don't know. It kind of seems like there might be some connection between Chaos and the Best Friends group in AEW anyway. So, maybe this is just Orange being smart on Twitter, or maybe, I mean, we've seen Chucky T when he was a goofball. Well, still is a goofball, but, he got brought in. Colt Cabana got brought in, teamed with Chaos. I mean, it's been a lot of kind of weird members of Chaos in the past. It'd be fine if Orange Cassidy came in. I mean, there's room for, comedy gimmicks here and there.
Yeah, could be interesting. He also said, speaking of Chaos, if Orange is allowed membership, would Trent and Chucky also be members again? And with them members again, would Chuck Taylor return to the role as the Chaos Mole?
I don't know why you assume that they ever stopped.
So they're like Suzuki-gun. Chaos is for life.
They're like Chaos members emeritus. They're like Nakamura. They're all still members, but in recess.
Are the Briscoe brothers still members of Chaos?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course. What are you talking about? Why did you ask that question?
I'm just trying to figure out who is and who is not Chaos. I haven't seen those boys in a while.
They're on their chicken farm.
they're running through GCW right now.
Yeah.
Next question from Rambo and Slam Pig, not purely NJPW related, but did you see Eddie Kingston's article in the Players Tribune? What are your thoughts? Is a changing locker room culture that's happening in Western promotions reflected in the culture of Japanese promotions, or is it still more old school?
I don't know what the Players Tribune is. I don't know what you're talking about.
So Eddie Kingston today did I haven't read the full thing yet, but it's a full article just talking about his life, his past, and in wrestling. I heard everybody's been sharing. It's an incredible article. And so I know he talked a lot about his mental health and depression and just stuff like that. And so definitely a great article. I'm not sure where it talks about the locker room changing because I haven't read it yet. But I also we're not in Japan. I'm not sure what the locker room culture is in Japan. I don't think we've really heard a lot of stories about what the locker room culture is like now, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate. The only thing I've heard is that AEW has a fantastic culture, you know, and not that everyone's happy, but across the board, it seems to be from people I've spoken to personally, and then the reports, a much happier place than a lot of major, you know, backroom locker rooms have been just in general. So that's all I can really say. I'll check out that article. I didn't know about it.
Down Homie 101, thoughts on the future of Juice Robinson and Jay White heading into 2022. And there were reports last week of Juice's contract potentially being up at the end of January.
I mean, provided they're both staying with the company, I don't know what their contract statuses are. I'm not even saying they're leaving or going or would be eligible to or not. At this point, I'm just like done speculating on that stuff. But provided let's say they did have the opportunity to leave, they decide to stay, I'd be fine with it. But I think that these are both two guys that got kind of screwed a little bit because of the pandemic, and then also their choices, for better or for worse, to go stateside. I mean, it's not like they've been, you know, both tearing it up on the indies. You know, we don't got a lot of excursion match of the year contenders from Jay White and Juice, you know, out there, you know, taking these Defy and, you know, Beyond Wrestling bookings and, you know, killing it on GCW with Nick Gage. It's not like that. So if they're going to stay here in the States, I think they need to maybe do more. Not because it's like, oh, we need them to do more, but it would be better for them, for their profiles, to maybe get out there and do something that's buzzworthy. And then if they do come back to New Japan proper, I think that the company needs to utilize them a little better, both of them, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, if one of these guys was leaving next year, I would lean more towards Juice Robinson. You know, he's a guy, I think he wants to be back in the States. He has a great body. He's been in the WWE system before. His fiance is currently there. He knows how to work that style. He's good at promo. I could easily see him, if they offered him a deal, going back to WWE and giving that another try. But we'll see what happens.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Non-New Japan question. He said, thought on the recent roster cuts that taken place at the E.
Not really. It's business as usual. It's a disgusting, you know, corporate entity that, you know, did a investors call, revealed how much money they made for the quarter, which is an astronomical amount, and then later in the day cut a bunch of people for various different reasons. I don't know, man. Part of me feels like Vince McMahon watched Moneyball one time and got inspired to try and like redo his entire management style and his recruiting style to, you know, change the game. I don't know, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, they let go a ton of great talent, and, you know, that's only better for the health of the independent scene. It's great for New Japan Strong. It's great for Impact. It's great for AEW. So it's going to help outside wrestling. Also, very talented. Also, guys we mentioned, Keith Lee, Oni Lorcan, Graham Metellike, Lindsay Dorado. Those guys are going to do well on the outside.
One thing I noticed, I was talking with Rich, what's up, Rich, earlier today, and I don't want to go too deep into this, but, you know, there was a period of time where WWE was building stars in NXT and then bringing them up to the main roster and kind of integrating them into the roster and turning them into stars, you know, for the general public. And then over the past 2 years, most of those call-ups that they brought up failed, so much so that they fired a lot of them. And not only that, but like the next crop of guys that were supposed to be on their way up from NXT, those guys are gone too. And the guys that are kind of remaining, there's reports of a lot of them considering their options when their contracts are about to come up. And then you kind of consider the fact that they have all these young, unproven athletes that they've kind of brought in as part of developmental with NXT. It's like, where's the next crop of stars coming from for this company? You know, they don't have it. I mean, you look at the way they're booking Roman and some of their other guys, like they don't have a lot of guys on deck waiting to either get beat or to replace the stars that they do have. I mean, look at the guys that they're pushing at the top outside of Roman Reigns. You know, Big E, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley. There's nothing wrong with that, but dude, those are all guys that they had 7, 8, 9 years ago, maybe longer, that they didn't utilize right the first time, and they're just now, after years and years and years, finally getting around to actually using them right.
Right.
I don't know, man. That company managed so poorly. Like the only thing I will say that might change is in the future when they sign, like, let's say if they, I'm not saying this would happen. Let's say they sign, say, an MJF. He's not going to NXT. NXT is probably going to be literally an actual developmental now. And you'll see guys from the outside that are actual stars just come straight over to the main roster because it's pretty obvious they're not going to have a lot of homegrown guys coming from NXT anymore, you know, or not that they ever did, but even like they're not going to hoard indie guys and keep them down there and prep them to come up because that whole thing's gone. So I don't know. It's fucking weird.
Right. I mean, I think that our only hope right now is Braun Breaker. Let's see. He said, time for some fight talk. Thoughts on my man Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman, giving Kobe bitch-ass coveting another L at UFC 268. Can Usman break GSP's record for title defenses in welterweight?
Yeah, I think he could definitely do that. Usman's just gotten better time and time again. Every single fight, he just looks more and more adept. I thought he was going to get Covington out of there early, and Covington really showed some heart, especially after almost getting stopped in the third round, and then came back, and I thought he won, you know, maybe won those last 2 rounds. They were very close, and to me, I had the fight 3-2 for Usman. So, I mean, yeah, he beat Covington, but man, Covington can fucking fight his ass off, dude. He's like the only guy in recent years that's even really given Usman serious problems like that. So, yeah, but Usman's special. He's very, very special, and provided his knees and his back and his neck hold up, yeah, I think he could beat GSP's record for sure. Great fight.
Then his last question here. Any thoughts on the recent bout that took place between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Sweet Hands Plant? What should be next for both fighters? Is there value in a rematch in the possible future?
Yeah, I watched some not highlight videos, but I went through and watched some of Caleb Plant's fights and study his style a little bit more and some of the nuances, things he does, and pretty impressed. But the one thing I noticed here, Canelo, in recent years has gone from just being one type of Mexican style fighter, boxer puncher, to really developing a serious defensive game with the shoulder rolls, head movement, and, everything like that. I mean, this guy's been the total package the last few years. And I think Caleb Plant got under his skin. And I think he went out there fighting mad because he abandoned all of that, and he was just literally winging hooks and uppercuts and overhands and was trying his hardest to fuck up Caleb Plant. And Caleb Plant really, really impressed me. I thought Billy Joe Saunders did well against Canelo, but I thought Caleb Plant did even better. And I can't think of too many bigger guys, 168, that have successfully employed that Philly shell defense the way Floyd Mayweather does. And he did it crisp as fuck, man. I mean, he was making Canelo miss a lot and countering Canelo a lot and landing some big shots. And Canelo was not trying to avoid that stuff. He was eating it up and just coming forward. The fight was a game of chess, cat and mouse. Very, very, very good fight. The one problem I noticed with Caleb was when he got backed against the corner, or he got himself trapped in the against the ropes or in the corner, he would just plant himself and basically depend on his rolling and on his catching the punches and everything like that with that Philly shell. And he wasn't focusing enough on countering and getting out of there or even tying up Canelo. And that was his undoing, because even though he was so successful, I was like, man, eventually one of these times this guy's going to catch him. And he's got, thunder in his fists. And for 10 rounds, he was fine. In that 11th round, he fucking caught him. Got him out of there. Great fight. great fight. I think Caleb Plant, I might have underestimated him a bit because I was thinking, going into this fight, I was like, dude, Danny Jacobs probably beats him. I was like, Billy Joe Saunders probably beats him. I felt like Callum Smith might beat him. I thought he was like maybe the 4th or 5th best guy at the weight division. And he really showed that he is a special fighter. Guy's got balls. And Canelo, I think people need to start having a conversation about Canelo being one of the top all-time greatest Mexican fighters. He's up there with Carlos Zarate. He's up there with JCC. He's up there with Juan Manuel Marquez. He's up there with Salvador Sanchez, and he's making history. And, you can talk about JCC all you want, but go look at his record. Go look at the guys he fought. Go look at Canelo Alvarez's last 15 fights. I think he's fought like 20-something champions at this point. The guy's a natural 160 pounder, and he's fighting 168, 175 pound guys. Like, come on. It's kind of bullshit. JCC, go look at JCC's record, and you tell me how many world champions he actually fought and how many of them were elite. And, I don't care about the fact that he had over 100 fights. Like, he fought, his record's so padded. I know it's sacrilegious to say all this, but it's true, man. It's true. Like, his record's not as good. JCC, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., his record is not as good as Canelo Alvarez's, period. I don't care.
That man got the AEW Dark padding going on.
Yeah, he does. And he's an all-time legend, and I'm not saying he's not. I'm not trying to discount him in that regard. But I don't know, man. Look at what Canelo's done. Look at the Triple G fights. Look at him clearing out this division, going up to 175 and knocking out Sergey Kovalev. Come on, bro. Like, this is crazy. Miguel Cotto, 160. Come on. Anyways, as far as what's next for them, I don't know. I think Canelo's talking about fighting. I always forget the guy's name. Sergey, whatever his name is. He's the light heavyweight champion right now. He's fucking scary, and I don't think Canelo should fight him. I think he is too big for him, and I think he probably would hurt Canelo. That's too much of a task, but the Triple G fight's on deck. There's also the Jermell Charlo fight is on deck. I think one of those two fights would probably be interesting. As far as Caleb Plant, I don't know. I think he goes back and rebuilds, and some of those fights I mentioned could be interesting. Saunders, Danny Jacobs, I don't know.
Nice. Well, last thing that we have here, recommended match of the week. We took last week off. Young boy, do you have a recommended match for us for this week?
Yeah, I just was like, do I want to make it something like post G1 themed, or do I want to make it power struggle themed, or World Tag League or Super Juniors? And I was like, fuck all that. Let's just pick one that I just really, really, really fucking like. And so I have gone with the classic from October 9th, 2000. This was the Tokyo Sports Award winner for Wrestling Match of the Year, as the Iwgp champion Kensuke Sasaki takes on Toshiaki Kawada in a non-title singles match, special interpromotional match, All Japan Pro Wrestling versus New Japan Pro Wrestling. I know I've shown you, I believe, the rematch.
Yeah.
But this is the first ever meeting between these two guys in 2000, and it's generally considered the better match. Like, probably the New Japan Match of the Year for the year 2000. And it's a fucking killer. And yeah, it's from Doe Judge, Tokyo Dome, 64,000 screaming fans. Like, let's do it.
It's on World?
It's on World. Kawada Sasaki from 2000.
Nice. Well, looking forward to checking that out. And that's going to wrap up everything here for us this week on Keeping It Strong Style. Next week, we'll be back to review Battle in the Valley and review the first couple nights of Best of the Super Junior and World Tag League. If you enjoyed today's show, please consider making a donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate and clicking the donate button under the Keeping It Strong Style logo. Make sure you connect with us on social media. On Twitter, the show is at KI Strong Style, the network at Social Suplex. I am at Jeremy L. Donovan on Facebook. We're at facebook.com/Social Suplex. Find the Wrestling Squared Circle Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Wrestling Squared Circle. On Instagram, we're at Social Suplex. Reddit, I am the Pro Black Guy. Also, Keeping It Strong Style. You can email me, Jeremy at socialsuplex.com. Check out our YouTube channel, Social Suplex Podcast Network. Check out the Discord. Links for that is in the show notes. Check out all the other shows that we have here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. One Nation Radio, hosted by Rich Latta and James Boyd. The Grave Consequences podcast with Caleb and Maserati. All things elite with Floyd and Austin. And starting this Friday, the debut of the AEW Match Guide podcast hosted by Sir Sam. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review. And we will catch you next week on Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts.
Itchy Bond.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.
Shop on eBay this holiday season to get more for your dough on stand mixers, or get more for your buck on this season's hottest tech and gaming gear. And on eBay, you can even get more bling for less cha-ching on jewelry. You can get more because you save more on premium brands with eBay's exclusive deals. Get more when you get it on eBay.
Annie had an earache on a Saturday of all days. So her mom brought her to Minute Clinic at CVS, where you can see a provider, fill a prescription, and grab essentials like pain relief products, all in one visit. Even on evenings and weekends. You can even see us online with telehealth options. For quality, affordable care on your schedule, visit Minute Clinic at CVS. That's healthier made easier. Services vary by location. See minuteclinic.com for details.